Okay, everyone, welcome back. Thank you for coming to Spelljammer 998, session 24. We're almost to 25. Yeehaw! Yeah, Brennan gets it. Last time on Spelljammer 998, you guys descended down into some of the lower sections of Sharn, and searched for the old hideout, which you come to find was an abandoned inn that Oswald Thorntree used to use as part of a kind of amateur eco-terrorist group, you were told. You guys delve down there to attempt to exonerate the Church of the Silver Flame, and maybe even Oswald, from some crimes he is suspected of committing, most notably the break-ins into the Cannith warehouses. You guys got down there into the inn and down to the lower sections of Sharn, found the abandoned inn, approached it rather stealthily. You guys did pretty well in your approach and found that, almost uncannily, this ragtag group of adventurers and a gnome cleric that appeared to be Oswald were very aware of you guys, despite your professional approach. You guys had a little bit of a spat. I don't think I've got any plays of the game here. Before you guys pretty handily demolished this adventuring group and very quickly come to find them possessed by intellect devourers. These brains with legs, for lack of a better term, that were in and out of people's heads after you killed them. You guys actually managed to kill all of the devourers as they escaped. But Echo, play of the game, I was wrong. Glad I'm flip-flopping already. Here we go, 2.5 minutes in, flip-flopping. Play of the game, Echo, hood slides over a table, sprints to Oswald, plucks the spear from his hand and pins him to the ground through his midsection with his own mithril spear. I kind of like to call them blue needles. They are very thin, very light, very strong. Before you guys went about both, I'm going to call it torturing. I don't know what else to call it. Interrogating. That's a much nicer term. You guys interrogated Oswald for a little bit. Learning a handful of things, the biggest one probably being that he seemed very devout in whatever belief system had taken over him. He did attempted to trick you guys into allowing him to lead you somewhere to talk about getting your own intellect devour. Does point you to a room in the inn where you guys found lots of notes and things of that nature, all in a cipher, heavily ciphered. Before Oswald eventually died, and you guys come to find it may not have actually been Oswald, as the corpse jellifies back into the shape of what a shifter looks. Excuse me, that's like the third time I made that mistake. A changeling looks like in its natural form. Echo shared a little bit about the idea that he knew there was a rogue changeling in the area, and you guys discussed the idea that it may not have even been Oswald that committed these crimes. I think you guys discussed several things, if I'm being honest. I won't remind you of all of them, unless y'all have some questions. But that is where we left off. I will go ahead and try to summarize some things you guys y'all were talking when we last left off the session. You guys are still in the abandoned inn. I kind of like to imagine you're over here in this kitchen section here. Hopefully that's unblurred, where all these ciphered notes and things were found. Some of the big things y'all discerned through rolls at the very end of the last session was that there was quite a bit of information ciphered. You guys determined that whatever the cipher was, it seemed to have been too advanced for such a small and ragtag group of adventurers. You guys also determined that something wasn't quite right. Randy had mentioned that this doesn't usually happen. A small group of adventurers like this wouldn't go to their deaths up against a much more experienced party. And I don't see... Okay, perfect. When asking Oswald about how to get an intellect devourer, he was told you had to find the one that cannot be known. And at the very end of the session, I think Drix or Randy performed a sort of autopsy to remove this large, square, thin piece of metal from what appeared to have been planted in the base of Oswald's skull, or should I say, Serge's skull. Echo had said he thought his name was. So you guys do now have in your possession. I think Demos even made a roll, or Echo made a roll. One of you that gathered up the most important pieces of the paperwork and the chip, as well as most of Oswald's loot. A little bit of coinage. That was the last thing I think. In one of the back rooms, there are these large crates of coins. A little odd, and the fact that they're in crates, and the fact that they were broken up. Crate of bronze, crate of silver, crate of gold, etc., etc. Other than that, that is where we left off. Is there anything, Mantis, anything else you would like to do here in the abandoned hideout? Uh, Oswald Surge did die a few moments ago, so you seem to have roam of the area. I can unblur the map. Right, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably check the rooms, see if there's anything good in there before we take off anyway.
You do a pretty thorough sweep, the best you can. The first thing you do is make sure there are no other enemies, which there are not. You feel confident you guys have eliminated you've eliminated all the threats in the area. But other than the room with the crates in it, the crates of coinage, you don't find anything out of the ordinary. Mostly ramshackle beds. You know, there is one room maybe that still has actual beds that some of these adventurers slept in. But other than that, you don't find any rooms of notice or any rooms that stand out to you as being in use.
Cool. You said that the kitchen had like documents in it, right? And I think we
Mm-hmm.
tried to decipher some of that. Have we spent any time like really digging into that at all, or?
No, you guys collected the important things, or one of you were able to determine what they thought was important, but you guys haven't tried to sit down and actually uncipher whatever's going on in that paper.
Okay.
You can also ask other characters to do so if you wish. It would be an investigation check.
I think I'd just pose to the party. We can look at these here. We can take them elsewhere. Kind of leave it up to everybody else.
Yeah, I think maybe look at them later.
Okay, Mantis. Sounds like y'all would like to vacate the area. Do you guys know where you'd like to go next?
Was it the warehouse?
You could go several places. You could go back to the warehouse. You could go back to the cathedral. You could go back home to Mantis HQ if you want.
I think maybe depending on what time of day is it like.
At this point, it is probably later in the evening. You probably have a little bit of time before it gets sundown, but not a whole lot. It's not quite twilight.
If it might make sense to head back to the house and see what we could sort of pull
Decipher.
out of these documents ourselves before we go talk to anybody else about it.
I'm with that.
Sounds like you guys head back to Mantis HQ. You flip your map. Forgetting to do all the time. Flip you guys' map here back to Mantis HQ. You guys make your way back home. I imagine by the time you get home, it is now approaching twilight. You guys make it back to your lavish mansion in one of the upper districts. Come inside, and the evening is yours. You guys make double sure y'all don't have a long rest tonight, but you do have the rest of the evening and your rest through the night to do what you would please. It sounds like y'all would like to study some stuff. Me double. Can't find what I'm looking for here.
I'm also gonna go out back and go shooting while we're here, I think.
Okay. Solid plan. Calendar. You guys got one, so it doesn't look like you get one yet. Because today is the 18th. Okay. You guys get a short rest overnight, but before that, Randy, make your checks. What did I have you make last time? Oh boy.
We did. Did we need
Roll
sleight of
20,
hand?
help me out. I think we did. Roll 20.
I think you did.
Go ahead and roll some sleight of hands.
You want me to do 2?
Yes, sir.
If you're shooting at a target, I imagine I'd go out there and shoot a couple arrows with you.
That's not the best.
Not standing in front of the target, obviously.
But you know, I don't know what I'm doing very well. You're a little more experienced.
So,
you have fun.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta hold your hands steady.
Randy, you had a very good set of rolls the first time. You even hit the target once on the first try. I'd like to think Randy strolls out there a little too confident this time and reaches into the holster on his hip with a small arm and tries to like quick draw with his small arm and just totally wildfires, barely able to keep a hold of the, I described it as a 44 Magnum like pistol in one of his small arms. And Randy, you may not get a punch hold this round, but you learned a valuable lesson. Not good for the small arms.
Okay.
I like to imagine Randy does this with what is remaining of the twilight hours that he has. Echo, or do you want to shoot him, make sleight of hand to shoot at any targets, or are you good? You just watch.
Oh
it?
no, I was just, if anything, maybe would have given him advantage. Like, hey, I see his form is sloppy, even though I'm not a gunslinger. Maybe like teach him about breathing techniques or something. If it would have
Or how to
helped,
look at
but
the target. Make one
Right.
more roll, Randy.
Okay.
Under the impression that Echo is trying to teach you some of the more visual aspects of aiming.
It's a lot better.
All right, this is a lot better. I like to think it's more about Echo kind of gives you tips on where to look on a target, how to use your eyes in relation to where you're shooting, and of course you hold it in one of your other hands, one of your larger arms.
Big hand. I don't know, what do you call those? Big arms.
take my strong hand.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it.
Okay. Okay. You can have another hole punch. It's 2 out of 4 for
Cool.
Randy. It's made a weird hand signal. It didn't even make sense. Good job,
Uh,
Randy. 2 out of 4. Randy and Echo bonding over killing things.
Tip my hat to Echo. I'm like, I thought I was gonna have to hang my brim a little low today, brother, but thanks for the tip.
Well, you've helped me before. It's the least I could do.
All right. What do you say we get in here and take a look at these papers?
Agreed. Investigation, you said?
Would be an investigation. I will, even though he's not here, you guys are welcome to ask Demos to make checks or provide him
Oh, hell
advantage to
yeah.
make checks.
Give me
I
one
kind of treat it the same
second.
way. Like whether he was here or not, I would kind of expect someone, if he didn't volunteer, to be like, "Hey, in character, hey Demos, yada 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 yada." So you guys can do that to people even when they're not here, because I'll roll for them.
Okay, if you already
Otherwise,
got
if-
his sheet up, I was
I
going
do
to pull
have
it up.
I do have it up. He'll be here eventually, so it's not a huge deal. If he was going to be gone all session, I might have asked somebody. Someone else is also welcome to take a look. It will be. Let me think about this. So investigation is the big one when you're looking for something specific. I'm trying to see if there would be another one. I would also allow insight checks for trying to uncipher a cipher.
That would be better for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be great at either. I mean, I'll better at insight, but I'm not gonna be probably top of the pack at either one of those.
But would knowing thieves can't in the underworld a little bit help him with insight?
Ciphers and thieves' cants are like 2 different parts of the same Venn diagram. So I would say it might help. I'm hesitant to give it advantage. I would lower the DC some. For those of you that know thieves' cant. Sorry, I'm looking for something.
That tempts me to take a spin at it anyway.
I was trying to check. I know Ben's dropping. I was trying to look at Trix's inside score.
I'll roll investigation for Deimos.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Sounds like Randy, you might want to try with
I'll hit
with your
insight.
insight.
Well, not the best. I'm rolling pretty low
That's
today, guys.
That's okay. You and Demos work together, and I like to think Demos handles the academic side of the cipher, whereas Randy, you have a little more street smarts, a little more idea of how thieves' cant, things like that are mixed up and jumbled, and I feel like you guys kind of have to work together. Since this is more of a role to see how long it takes you guys to get things out of it, to figure things out. It is later into the night, you guys work later into the night in an attempt to break this cipher. You guys get a couple of things. You don't feel like you've totally unciphered all of the notes. But you do glean pretty quickly that you verify your thought that whoever wrote this cipher was not this amateur adventuring group. It seems that they were very clearly taking orders from somewhere else. It becomes very clear pretty early on in the process that these are notes and instructions from some other organization pulling the strings from the outside. I will say for spell with a 17 especially, Demos points out pretty quickly. He says something isn't right. Demos tells you that there's I don't know if I gave you this. There's information here that information missing that there shouldn't be. If these were written instructions to people that didn't know what was going on, they wouldn't quite be able to do what they were supposed to do. He points out several instances to Randy since he's the one working there. I imagine y'all are kind of all hanging. This is all probably in the library. I mentioned Erithus. I feel like Demos has a workspace in the library where he does stuff. So you guys are all pacing around the accusing parlor. Future Trauma reference.
So then maybe this is like one half of the puzzle, another cipher somewhere.
Well, and Demos goes on to tell you that they refer to things vaguely. Like think of it like there are its and the place, and like almost like they would have already had to know what the place was and what it was referencing. And I'll say with that score, the third thing, I'll give y'all one more thing. A lot of these notes seem to be records of some kind. They're almost like a book in the sense of like a tax book, sort of. They're vaguely, they seem to could be fiscal in nature. FISCAL, fiscal. It's like, and mostly I stop there because at this point it would be later into the night. You guys may need to take your rest and try again in the morning if you would like, or go and speak to people, or whichever one you guys would like to do. There's a little bit more information you guys can glean from the paperwork that you have.
I always had a feeling that tax collectors were soulless brains.
Wow. I was going to make a Bible reference, but I don't even remember which one was a tax collector. Sad.
As far as a character?
I was going to say very Judas of you, but I don't think Judas was a tax collector.
No, I don't
Don't remember which one it was.
I know he had an affinity for silver.
Yeah, he did.
Unlike some of us in this group.
You guys need to watch Castlevania Nocturne. The Abbot's a pretty cool character. Very interesting character. Anyway, you guys take a short rest. Please smash that short rest button if you have not already. Sounds like Ben's trying to get resituated. Barbara, you alive? Did you go back to sleep? Dead.
I'm alive, sorry. Ben brought home food for me, so I'm stuffing my face.
I knew it.
I understand.
By the way, Matthew was the tax collector.
Thank you. Matthew was the tax collector. You're correct. All right. You guys take your short rest. You guys sleep over the night. Sleep off any effects from the battle. Nothing terrible, hopefully. For you guys get up the next day and on the 19th, and of course the day is yours. It has been like 3 days since you purchased your ship from Cyrelius. You guys imagine it could come in at any point. He told you it would be sometime within a week. So hopefully not far off. It has been probably close to a week since you left the Piece of Darkness with Bree. You guys left that with Bree well before y'all went to fight the dragon, haven't you? Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's been well over a week since you left the Piece of Darkness with Bree. Okay.
So we have the option to go talk to her. We can return to her, I guess, and let her know what we found so far.
You also have more of the paperwork, the rest of the paperwork to decipher if you would wish. You also have the implant you guys removed from Oswald. So you do have a variety of options. You could also go talk to
Didn't
Calvin
we,
about the other plot hook you had.
Didn't we absolve the church of this? We got enough evidence to say that he was not acting on behalf of the church.
You think you could
Go
probably
get
use
that
the
reward.
you think you probably could use, you could either, tell her to go see the body. You could present the notes or the implant. You can tell her what you saw. Obviously, you may need a mild amount of proof, but you guys do believe you have what you need to exonerate the church at the very least.
Oh, you mean this brain that I picked up by its feet after Deimos killed them all and dragged with me? Let me present that. I'll just plop it down right in the middle of the building and be like, look what we found.
I would allow.
Yeah, that one.
Figured something low plot wise. Get rid of the low hanging fruit while Joey's not here.
Yeah, so as long as there are, because I imagine, I don't know what else you would need, but I don't think it'd be that hard to just swing by there and be like, I don't think he was, obviously he wasn't involved with the church anymore. Look at this random crap. And then from there, tell her she's
Maybe
off the
she
hook.
might
We've got more digging.
I think.
know something.
I shouldn't say I think. I'm not. I can't. I shouldn't contribute ideas.
Side note, I can tell it's cold outside because all y'all have sleeves.
Yeah, it is.
Almost. It depends. We'll see at the break. I'll probably come back without him. It's usually how it
Did
goes.
you see me? Yeah, I tried to start with a sweatshirt on. It didn't work.
I normally get warmer the longer we play.
It is 61 in Blue Ridge today, so that's the coldest it's been all year.
Oh, it's cool in
Anyway,
here.
so far.
I didn't turn the heat on. My thermostat's been 69 all day. I haven't touched it.
Nice. Nice. All right.
I guess there's a thought
was it- was it-
before we go, we should probably try to determine who has good stats if we want to try to roll against the cipher some more before we leave. Because I assume we want to leave those documents here, or we could take them. I don't care. The church lady may also know stuff about the brains, so.
Was there another thing to learn from the cipher? I thought we gleaned all that we could.
There's a little more information you think you could pull out of this.
My insight is 4, so +4, so I don't know if that gets us anywhere.
Hell yeah.
That does. That is one of y'all's better options, from what I can tell from Joey's sheet.
Although, as a question, does mine, if I roll mine, does it still lower the DC that we have to hit?
You could both roll again, since again these are kind of These are like, y'all are coordinating your efforts to see how long it takes you
Oh, shit,
guys
that's good.
to. It's pretty good.
I guess I'll
Go
roll
ahead
one
and
too, just to
roll
help.
again. Yeah, because the idea is like this isn't to see if y'all figure it out. It's more of how long it takes you to figure it out. Especially since y'all need to learn some things for stuff to happen and stuff. Wow. Sorry, I'm processing how I want to do this. Zephyr, you. This is hilarious. Being the group accountant, apparently, Zephyr, you've realized pretty quickly that a large chunk of the notes you guys took are indeed fiscal records for several different businesses. Their kind of their overall volume, their profit margins, things of that nature. You even find a list of inventory, the kinds of things that they sell, how they package things. And I like to think now it's Demos, Zephyr, and Randy are having to work together and share information for each other to be able to read some of this. Zephyr, you can tell pretty quickly there's an unusual amount of business-based information here. And then all working together, I'm not gonna look at that meme. As you all kind of work together, you guys do eventually. I think Randy, this is where the thieves' cant comes in. Randy, you begin picking up what appear to be random pieces of paper. Pattern catches your eye as you realize that much like the Tarkanen system, where you are led from place to place to place, you find yourself pointed to from page to page to page, often 20 or 30 pages apart, and you do eventually manage to piece together directions to what appear to be deeper into Sharn. At first you think it's an address, and then you kind of get the clarifying, the contextual information around it. You may not know this, but it does seem to be an area in Lower Sharn. I was going to kind of describe the area. But you may not be, you may not know that it's a slum. But you do get eventually a localized region in Sharn out of it. And for Zephyr's 23. When you bring this to light, when you have your eureka moment, they're all looking at you like you're a numbskull because you're putting all these random pieces of pages together, and then you point out the address or whatever. Zephyr, you pick up on this. You run with this. You look at some of the information around this. You add a couple of pieces to this puzzle that Randy has put together, and you determine that there seems to be a message pertaining to this area that goes something along the lines of how do I put this? Whatever organization is communicating to these adventurers seems to be very confident in whatever is at this location. They're almost as if you had stumbled upon a country revealing to another organization that they have nuclear weaponry or that they have a secret weapon. And it doesn't seem quite that sinister. That's a bad example on the scale of how bad shit could be. But Zephyr, with your Sky Sword, you do put together that whatever is there is dangerous. They almost treat it like a trump card in ways.
Wither and smother.
And I would guess. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember everything that goes with that piece of information. That seems to have been. You can get out of the rest of the cipher. The remaining information is that is where they wanted those guys to end up. Do this and this and this. Come here. And I guess this and this and this would be break into the Kenneth warehouses, steal an autonome, return it here to this place that you've already unciphered, Zephyr.
Oh, no.
I guess Randy unciphered the place. But...
I don't like that too much.
There's only one. No, you're all still not sure how they know where exactly some of this information is. Here, the place that Zephyr has ciphered out seems to have been written down. There are still lots of pieces of information you guys can't locate. You're not sure how they know what it is, or where there is, or what X is.
So based on this, but as far as we know, they didn't actually successfully get an autonome or anything, right?
As far as you're aware. I imagine Vera would, or you can probably safely assume Vera would have told you.
Yeah. So I guess order of operations. Do we tell Vera what we found? Do we go to the church first and try to go ahead and sever that like we're done here?
Yeah.
I feel like
Church
that's
first.
the first logical step.
I like that because y'all get money out of it.
Same.
Hell yeah, 3,000 gold until
3,000?
Zephyr rizzes the shit out of her.
I thought it was 6.
I was about to say, I also like to pretend being a snooty elf bitch that runs the church. It's kind of fun. Okay.
Dev's alter ego is a
Yeah, fucking
an old grandma elf.
It's true that runs church. Yeah, no.
Sounds
Corrupt
about
southern
right.
creature.
A Catholic allegory, old woman. I guess Catholicism women can't be priests.
So that's a,
Correct.
What was that
That's-
sound?
I'm wondering, hold on.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I think he was talking to
Uterus gets
not
in the way.
us.
I don't know what that means, but
Well, no,
apparently
but when
uterus gets in the way.
when you said it, I heard something weird outside of my house too, and I was like, I swear to God, if my dogs are chewing up my grill cover, I'm gonna freak out.
Oh man, don't be saying that. I just read some Lovecraft, like I said. Don't be talking about dogs barking.
Oh boy. Anyway, spoopy time in whatever state I live in. If you've been paying attention, you already know. Anyway,
You're
you
the
guys
only
make your
10 I
way.
see.
You guys make your way to Go Balls. The Archifant, you guys make your way back up to, this is again one of the upper districts. It is in the upper district of Sharm. You pass many different churches of many different deities. It is the religious district. I don't know what it was about medieval cities. Maybe it's just a fantasy thing where they're all congregated in the same place. Keep your religion tucked in the corner like the rest of the world except the south. But also maybe the south. You guys make your way back to the cathedral, the first national cathedral of the Silver Flame. Pimos is there. He does recognize you as soon as you come in. He greets you warmly, tells you, "So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the Archfant." He does rush. Does rush off to go get the Archfant. You guys don't have to wait very long. He comes back with her. You're not made to wait again. Pardon, I had a burp. Funny, I'm about to be an Archfant. I'm drinking Hell's Holler. Yeah. He does. This
Hell's
time,
Holler, nice.
it's not. Yeah, dude. I had a Boilermaker made of Hell's Holler and bourbon earlier. It's delicious.
That
Oh
sounds
my god.
oh my god.
You guys, she does this time make her way down these steps, does not speak to you from a distance from atop the dais like she did last time. And she strolls down to your group and gives you guys a smile. She says, you have returned rather quickly. I'm hoping you returned with good news at the very least.
Good-ish news.
I'd call it that.
Is this the part where I throw the brain down on the floor?
If you would.
Go for it.
This is the part
Or
where
the
you throw
brain,
the
Randy.
brain down.
I just pull it out of my.
Oh, the
My-
brain,
my-
Randy.
I
my
can't believe
fanny
you just
pack.
brained her.
Okay. You remove a. It's getting a little ripe at this point. The devourer, holding it by the legs. I was like you hold a chicken upside down, like if you cut its head off, like you're kind of holding it by its legs.
Oh.
And
That's
sorry,
exactly
burp.
how I imagined.
And you pull it out, and she flinches, but in a way that, like, you can tell this is the kind of person that does not visually flinch very often. It is very small. Had you guys not been up there with her, surrounding her, you may not have noticed. That is very disturbing. If I am being entirely honest, where you found that in Oswald?
In, around. Yeah, all his
And a
friends had
few
him.
others.
His friends have. He was back with his old posse.
It was a posse.
I can't say for sure if they were the same ones from before. What I can say is they weren't very strong.
You guys
And
were
that they won't be
you-
bothering you.
you all closely knew Oswald, but you did not know his friends.
Different circles. We were his church friends.
Church friends.
Those were his gambling friends, I guess.
Okay. So they won't be bothering us anymore. You've she kind of holds her hands out. She says, "I do not see any of Oswald's effects. I'm curious, what has happened with him? You pulled this out of him and his friends, so he is deceased, truly?"
Yes. I'm just
Okay.
thinking. We didn't take the blue needle. Do you know
You
what
did.
these
Y'all
are?
did take a blue needle.
We did.
Does this
No,
do you recognize this?
no, Sir Oswald carried a mace. There's a very nice spear, but not
Did he-
something I've ever seen him carry.
Did we check his person outside of the Blue Needle? Like to check to see if he had any religious symbology or anything on his person?
I thought we
He-
did.
He had his shield had a holy symbol of the silver flame. He had a mace on his belt. He was wearing armor, like you guys being in the church would probably have seen some clerics. Pimos is a cleric. I like to imagine he's wearing robes. He's that kind of cleric. But Oswald Surge did have silver flame armor on.
I would say we left his body at the place and give her directions if she wanted to send somebody there to verify.
Yeah. We'll also let her know.
Our-
Like, I can assure you though, the stuff all over his clothes, his shield, matching off a lot of the stuff in here.
I mean, but you. How do I put this? They crawled out of, and she cast a minor, or don't let clerics cast minor illusion. Actually, take that back. She says, "I will send somebody to recover the body immediately. He was consecrated to the silver flame and deserves a proper burial." She does immediately sends like a page or a acolyte out of the church. Or well, maybe perhaps she tells someone floating nearby. I like to imagine someone like this has someone nearby, or a couple of people nearby at all times that are kind of meant to do their bidding, or etc. You know, you guys know how powerful people often have these. They call them floaters, people that float around them, do things that they ask, or are just
Heard of people
willing
having
to
fluffers.
kiss ass to, make a good impression.
Could
So she
I
just send someone off in that direction.
could I
I
shoot
will.
a quick message to Echo and just ask him, telepathically as I do? We probably should have asked her if she knew anything about his background or whether or not he was a changeling. I'm kind of nervous she's going to show up, be a little surprised by what she finds.
I'm just thinking if she would know that, if he would have ever changed in front of her, especially if he was a secret agent. Because then if she knows about that, then she may be in on some stuff. Do you know what these brains do? I'd ask the Archivant. I'm
Tells
asking.
you, yeah. I'm
she-
trying to figure out how she would. I think she would know. You know, if you lead a church, you know about most of the gross and nasty things of the night. She says that they do indeed. They are a form of illithid that feast on the brains of their host, and we believe replace them. They seem to have some faculty to take over their host after eating their brain. And we don't know exactly how it works. We don't know if they're tied to any one illithid. If they act upon their own accord, it is difficult to study them. They are due to their some of you, I guess, weren't attacked by this. She explains to you that they have this ability to kind of psionically stun you. They can, for lack of a better word, make you inept, make you inert before they eat your brain. She says that makes them very difficult to study, since this attack is very difficult to prevent.
Do you know if they can change a person's appearance? Like you never knew Oswald to be wearing disguises or look different, huh?
No, that is more or less against the way we teach the clergy. We want everyone to stand in the light. Especially churches of the Silver Flame subject their clerics to many tests in order to be passed into the clergy. If he could indeed change shape, he would not have passed all the test.
Makes sense. I discreetly.
Yeah, that's
Kind of
that's definitely Oswald over there. I'm pretty certain of that.
So we were okay. I guess wrong about that. I was wrong about that. Or what tests would root out?
She gives you short. She says, well, they were all subject to holy water, a silver knife, particularly if they come to us from another parish, we will sometimes subject them to a brief moonbeam, in order to
those would do it.
verify. And she does give you a couple of other lists of things like that any cleric would know to do to check for an undead or a vampire or etc., or a lycanthrope. So they do all the regular stuff to make sure you're not a creature of the night. Changelings are not exactly creatures of the night, but
All right. I obviously can't say this out loud, but new theory: he took the shape of the charred body was Oswald, and this dude took the shape of him and proceeded to, I don't know, do stuff in his stead for a period of time. It's my best guess. I don't know.
Right. So then, which one originally ransacked the warehouse?
I'd have to guess it's got to be the one that we killed. But I think that also does absolve Oswald of guilt in
Right.
accordance to the church at that point, right?
Yeah, I guess we would tell her that too. Like the thing we killed was not seemingly to be the original Oswald. He seemed to take on his skin, which
If you
makes me just
guys,
kind of shudder thinking about that. Like, how can a creature do that?
it is
Ugh.
absolutely disgusting, isn't it? I'm glad a man of your virtue agrees. And she says, and when you
Wait, I want to lean into this. Speaking of disgusting, you ain't got no use for this, right? And I sort of hold up the intellect devourer like by its tentacles up in the air.
if you
Ugh. Ugh.
I like to think when you sniff it, she goes from about to say something to like trying to hold her lunch down. And she says, if you have no other use for it, perhaps some form of potion could be made from it. We do not get many of these specimens to experiment with. But otherwise, I cannot be certain there's any use for it.
I look back at Drix and I'm like, I don't know, man. These things eat brains. In kind. Maybe you want to eat the brain. Is it a snack or is it a potion? You decide, buddy.
I heard it go with fava beans and Chianti.
Oh God.
Oh, well.
I
Like, if you could just save me the medulla, that'd be cool.
you guys can say that she's a little put off at the idea that Drix is just gonna eat this thing. And she says, I could not be certain. We would probably have to work with some wizards. Potions are not alchemy is not always a cleric's specialty. We can make some things. And she's trying not to look at it. Like you can tell at this point, the smell's getting to her a little bit. She's trying not to pull her robe up over her nose.
Zephyr's already pulled up the robe over his nose. He's not polite. Thing's nasty. It offends my sensibilities.
Anyway, I side-eye Echo while I'm doing that, and I'm like,
Humanoid.
if she thinks something in here's nasty, well, it's certainly not you. It's gonna be this. I lean into it a little bit harder, and then I slice off just a little piece and toss it back to Drix. It's almost like a snack. And I'm like, here you go, buddy.
Oh God.
Catches it in the air like a shrimp at hibachi. Just, nom, nom, nom.
You want a Drixie snack? Would you do
Zephyr
it for a
pukes
quarter
in the
snack?
nearest potted plant.
Rixie Drix.
So
Drix odd or
regarding the
even.
payment,
Oh no.
Oh. Drix odd or even. Hold that thought, Echo. Good line. Good.
Wi-Fi tradition. I'm gonna go with odd.
Okay. It is odd. Drix, as this piece of brain sashimi is tossed over to you, and you catch it, the sound as you chomp on it. I like to imagine I have a big dog. I don't know if you guys have ever heard a big dog eat. Sometimes it's very smacking sound.
Rapping.
The sound that your jowls make as you're eating this piece of brain causes her to take 4 steps over to the side of the building and vomit.
Bless.
And
You're vomiting, buddy.
as she finishes
Humanoids are so
vomiting, Echo says, "So how about that reward?" And you guys watch as she gives Drix a very dirty look, takes out a handkerchief and dabs her mouth, and makes a very short quip about you guys'. I think it's almost like a quip about off-worlders. About how they're shouldn't be here on Eberron. Yeah.
I've never
Both-
had Illithid before. I mean, when am I gonna get another chance?
Does wave over another acolyte who hands you guys your promised reward, which is 3,000 gold pieces.
Yeah.
And you guys, since you earlier had told her your theory, she says, I can actually believe this. Of course, very pale. I just finished throwing up. She says, I can believe this could be the case. The authorities already believe the burned body to be Oswald's. Perhaps they were correct in that notion. I'm processing. She says, that is what these things do, correct? They replace people in that way. None of his effects were found on the crime scene. Perhaps this changeling, took his things, and perhaps that would explain some of the things at the crime scene. The extra blood, perhaps, if Oswald put up a fight. she does have another acolyte carry off the rest of the intellect devour. I think it's what you wanted to do with the other half of it. Who's gonna let her try to make something, or are you just cutting a piece off?
Hey, if she could turn it into something that we don't have, I'm down. I'm curious what'll come out of
Is
it.
she
I
doing
was just
that
wanting to
for
sample
us
anyway.
though, or is she doing that for the church
could-
purposes?
You could ask who you wanted to. You gather it's more of the idea of like no one gets to study these things often. So anyone that could figure out how to make something out of it would be,
Got it. Like, hey, before you walk off too far with that, I either need to figure out what's coming out of it and get a sample of it, or I need a little extra coin. You decide.
I like to think at this point, despite her pale complexion, you know how you feel kind of weak and queasy after you get done throwing up. She does get this kind of, I don't want to call it sneaky. When you say that, it's almost like you're speaking her language. All of a sudden, she has this kind of little curt smile, and you guys are given an extra 1,000 gold pieces for the intellect devourer.
Cool. I assume there's
Might
somewhere
I
we can go back
suggest
and get,
some,
so.
I think Deimos might chime in. Might I suggest some peppermint tea or ginger to help that stomach?
It's very Demos of you. Very Demos of you. Okay. She, probably one of the last acolytes remaining waves him off, and you gather he is going to get her some tea. Is there any other business I can help you all with? If what you have said is true, this corpse, at the very least, can exonerate the church. If, you guys told her it came out of Oswald.
Did we tell her that, or did we tell her that it came out of Oswald's friends?
She asked if it came out of Oswald, and someone said him and several others. I didn't ask for a deception check, which is kind of my fault. So she's going to assume that this thing did come out of Oswald, and that she can more or less use this to exonerate him and the church. So she seems pleased with the results.
Can we keep an ear to the ground for how they handle that? I'm curious, like, if there's like a head at the top, right? Like, I don't think they would go wage war against it, but I'm curious, like, how they're gonna handle that situation. Because I guess I should ask this first. Is an intellect devourer like a normal thing to run into here?
Illithids are widespread. They do mostly live in Khyber. There are colonies. Let me see here. How long is? I have heard there are colonies that live in wild space, but you could find them pretty much anywhere on the continent.
All right. That's fair enough.
Kind of like bears, maybe.
You see many bears in the city of Sharn.
No, I mean like meta-wise. Kind of like bears. Like
All over the
not
world.
everyone sees a bear.
And I think it also just depends on the part of town you're in, right? Like, if I see a bear in my backyard, I'm not going to feed it. But if I see a bear in Gatlinburg playing in a dumpster, well, yeah, I might toss it a burger or something. It's probably cool.
Oh yeah. It's essentially a big raccoon at that point.
I mean, they kind of are. Fucking trash pandas.
Yeah, they already are.
I don't know. You got a rabies shot. The raccoon's not gonna kill you. The bear gonna kill you if it want to.
Well,
Big pause.
Black bears you can chase off at least.
Anyway, whatever. I just wanted to gross that lady out, and I felt like I'd do it on a whim. I'm down to get out of here whenever you guys are.
Randy
yeah,
said
mission
it.
accomplished. Randy, let's get out of here.
I do want to get out of here as quick as possible.
You start talking about all the rituals trying to ruin your life.
Right. It's coming up on service time, and they do like a 10:30 moonbeam every day.
Oh, for the whole audience. Big brother Silver Flame. Okay. You guys make your way 4,000 gold pieces richer. You guys make your way out of the First National Church Silver Flame. First National Cathedral Silver Flame. Having collected your fee, provided some form of you provided at least a little bit of evidence to exonerate Oswald and the Silver Flame. I would say that Yatana does clarify that these are not so common that, like, if she says this is what happened, it is rare enough to see them that it would be very unlikely that she got that any other way than sending you guys to investigate.
That's mostly what I was curious about. Like if she was gonna like hold it up and present it in front of the people or whatever, and it'd be like sort of a shock and awe, like, oh my gosh, what are these things doing here in our area?
Maybe a little bit. It may upset the, it's kind of like an infestation. Like if your house gets infested with cockroaches, isn't a good one because cockroaches are pretty common. But it is kind of like, you having bed bugs maybe is a better one or something of that nature. It is kind of like finding a parasite in your home you wouldn't want to find in your area. But it's not like they're so common that they're going to be like, you could have got that anywhere. Yada, yada, yada. So it could stir up a few things. You can't keep your ear to the ground about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just curious, like if there might be more dusting up from that, especially if there was like we know something higher up and we may still find it is puppeteering a little bit. So just sort of keeping an ear to the ground to see what else comes of it.
You could indeed keep your ear to the ground, kind of thing. Okay. You guys, I imagine, make your way back to Manus HQ, unless there's somewhere else you'd like to stop on the way. Manus HQ is also in an upper district. You don't have to go very far.
I mean, I do my
we need
daily
to go to
shopping
a
if we do, but
store or anything?
that does remind me.
You can
With
shop it
this-
virtually anytime.
Do I need to worry about bullets? I don't know. We'll have to talk about.
We'll
the
worry
reload
about that
economy at some
after.
point.
I'm about to say we'll talk about that after you.
Cool.
Who the fuck is Carol?
Carol.
You
oh,
can't talk about
Carol.
After you guys actually, I've seen the skit, and I don't even know who Carol is. After you actually get proficiency with it, we'll talk about that.
Cool.
I think like raw, it's almost like a bow. Doesn't matter. We might work out like you have so many rounds of gunpowder, so many like caps of gunpowder, but we'll see.
That's fine.
I'm not worried about ammo for stuff and things. All right, you guys, would you like to go shop for anything? You guys now have several illithid with slice of gross. Disgusting. Disgusting. What else we gotta add there? What is that minus?
I thought it was pretty delicious, honestly.
It was supposed to be a minus, but it gave me a bullet point. So I was like, we just, it's an inventory. We no longer have it.
See, it's true. It's true. All right, good job, yo. All right, you guys do have what looks like that 4,000 gold is gonna bring you guys to roughly 7,500 gold pieces, and that is just loose gold pieces in your party inventory. Y'all could go seek out a store if you wanted to. You definitely don't have to, but Brandon makes a good point. Y'all have the opportunity while you're out and about if you wanted.
We could shop. We could also swing by the Charm Barn and get a price update on how much the armor is going to cost for Chief Ringo. Since we're probably saving money for that. Other than that, my only other thought was just to head to Vera's place and sort of lay down what we know and see what we need to do next.
Did we get stats on this mithril spear, or one of y'all using it?
No one has claimed it. I can send you what it does. 1 second.
And also, is the
I
chain
probably
attached to
won't.
it directly, like permanently, or is it like a separate item?
It's not. I would say by now. I guess no one's identified it. It does seem to be attached to it magically. You can see where, like, instead of like an actual clip, it does seem to be almost melded into the spear. You're not entirely certain, Randy, if you gather since it's magical, there's probably a way to change what it's attached to, but you couldn't be certain.
Hey, Deimos, what you doing, brother? Need you to check this thing out for me.
Wasn't he also? No, he
Identify.
got done doing the bone hilt. He wasn't doing anything else, huh?
He had not started anything yet. Yes, sir.
He's enchantment free for the time being. If anybody needs anything,
He is a champ.
Shoot, identify just takes 10 minutes for him, huh?
If
Or the
he
whole
ritual,
hour.
he ritual cast it. Oh, why'd you do it that way? Discord's dumb. I don't know why it wants to do things in fucking pictures. Why would you do that? Just paste it as text, you absolute morons. Sorry. Triggered. So the only thing about the mithril spears is it is like a regular spear, but its range is doubled. So it has 10 feet range instead of 5 foot range.
Because it's lighter.
Yeah, because it's lighter. You can they make them longer. I described it like a pilum, which is like a Roman pike that was used. Very long Roman pike. Pilums technically had this big long metal shaft, and the back part you would hold would be wrapped in wood. It would have a wood handle. Spears are like wood with a head. Pilums had like several feet of metal. It's almost like he took a wrought iron gate and stuck it 5 foot out of the end of a spear handle. They're real freaky looking. They're great. Hail Kaiser. You guys.
Is it
I was
light?
gonna say.
Exceptionally.
That's why I was asking. I don't know, Drix. If it's got 10 feet range and your Githka has 10 foot range, I don't know what you're holding in your extra little arm, but it might be useful to have 2 10 foot items.
I am gonna rule like I did not. It is not a light weapon because it is so long. That's the trade off. Like it's 10 feet long because the material is so light. It's not a light weapon.
Well, then is it better than what you got? That's the real question.
I don't think it was
I don't think so.
+1 or magical.
Yeah, it's not
Technically.
not gonna do as much damage as Githka, I think. Spears are
So-
1d6.
Did Deimos identify?
Yeah, I got a D10 plus
He-
3 for my guess. So.
Yeah, he can identify his enchanted chain.
Bro, that thing
Yeah,
does
so-
1d10? Whoa, dang.
Yeah, his Githka is a two-handed weapon. He's big old
It's a
staff
modified
thing.
halberd, but
So Demos identifies the enchanted chain. So a slim but well-made chain wreathed with enchantment. So he tells you guys already know, you can attach it to a thrown weapon, and it will return that weapon to you over the course of a round. Demos is also able to tell with the identify spell that they can be magically. You can spend a short rest with it to unattune it from another item and reattune it. Reattune it to another item. So they are not difficult. It does just require, I guess, a short rest in this campaign is 8 hours. It does require a little bit of time. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to say it takes about an hour to do the magical workings you have to do to take it off of something and put it back on something else. But you can take it off and reattach it to another item if you wished. It attaches magically. You don't need any other hookups or anything like that.
Y'all think we would use the chain or just sell it? The whole thing, kit and caboodle.
My thought was this, and I think I low key talked to the DM about this outside of this. Drix, I know that you have a specific item that has a thrown property that's also probably important to you from a DC stance. Might be useful to throw that chain on there. AC stance, yes. It might be useful for you to throw that chain on there because then you can actually use it for its thrown properties and still get it back to have your AC boosted. That's just me.
that is true. I was thinking about using my psionic abilities to bring it back, but that's going to cost me dice, so that's actually not a bad idea to use the chain.
It's actually, I like to say that. You should put some thought into using your psionics and the chain together, because that's what Surge was going to do. We'll see. You'll see. You'll see. We'll see. Both. All of the above.
Should he have eaten Surge?
So,
I feel like I should have at this point.
so we're gonna sell the spear, keep the chain.
I don't need the spear.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, these
If
things.
I didn't have this badass gift guy, I'd take the spear, but
Let me look at some stuff here. How I don't have prices for some things, no price for that, which is very interesting. I'm gonna say the mithril spear nets you guys probably another 500 gold pieces. Since
If we're in
dagger-
a store, I'll ask if he has any buttons.
buttons.
$1
Yeah.
bills.
Like maybe like a subscriber like that I can smash or something.
Yeah.
All right, you got me. I was very confused. You punked me.
It wasn't a
Go ahead and
pump.
comment what you think we
I'm
should
putting
do with
it-
the spear.
I'm gonna be honest. I love
Stab me
the
after that.
I love the blue needle. kind of nickname for those kind of spears, but I imagine a blue needle to be like an enchanted weapon that floats next to you, like a cleric spiritual weapon, but it's one of those mithril spears, and you can make it fly around like Yondu's fucking little arrow in Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's like this 10-foot long, thin ass spear. That's what I imagine a blue needle to be. Welcome to my weird Eberron headcanons, y'all. It's gonna get weird up in here the rest of the night. I'm gonna have more Boilermakers. Joey's gonna be here soon. I have to pee. I don't know. We're gonna take a break at the next 5 or 10 minutes, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, I gotta eat before I drink the rest of this rye.
Go do it. Drink it,
Heads up.
eat, and then drink some more.
If you do it really fast,
Big
then
brain.
it's like
Big
you're eating
brain.
at the same time.
This is Drunken Dragons. It's the only way I'm going to survive till 1 a.m.
It's like a reward.
After the day I've had, this is my reward. Yeah.
100%. You enjoy that rhyme, my man. Okay. You guys do sell off the mithril spear for 500 gold. You sounds like you guys are going to take the time to attach the chain to the mithril shield that Drix has. Maybe when we get back from break, we'll verify that is the case. Y'all think about that. If there's anything else you'd like to attach it to.
Drick's going full Captain America.
I'm trying to think of ways, like, all I can imagine is, like, throwing the shield and it bouncing off of something, and the chain is, like, a perfect angle, like a video game, like, dude, like,
Bro,
wrapping a
what?
bunch of people up, like...
I was gonna ask, could you use it that way? Could you bounce the shield off something and use the chain as like a restraint device to pull them closer to you?
Surge had a psionic ability that he could, like, try to trip people if they were, like, he could try to, like, crowd control multiple people with the chain. So, like, I've already done the groundwork for some neat stuff with that chain and psionics. So, kind of glad that
That's
Drix
actually what I
has
was
it.
thinking about.
Kind of glad
Changing
Drix has a
directions
hold
with
of
it and
it.
shit.
I wish he got to do it so you could have seen it, and then there's, like, precedent for you being like, I saw this dude do this, I want to try. We'll get there. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Just
Echo,
had to
just
kill him
doing
too
Echo
fast.
things. Okay, is there anything else you guys would like to do in town after you hawk that spear? You sell it to you go up to an adventurer. You go over to the adventuring district, one of the upper districts. Doesn't take long. You sell the spear off to one of the adventuring stores that you guys and maybe have been into before. Anything else you guys would like to do while you're in the shopping district before you guys go back to Mantis HQ? Sounds like y'all are going to regroup here in a minute. Y'all will have to catch Demos up on the stuff he missed. Y'all can decide what you want to do after that. Anything else you'd like to purchase? I did. I know he's not here. Or maybe he is. He's off mute. If you guys stop by the Sharn Barn to ask about the price for the armor for Chief Ringo, who I imagine you guys are keeping him in the yard at your place of living. Sorry, my brain. Holy shit.
Yeah, we got a corral out back.
The nest.
I like that. The hive. When you guys go to ask, Arma is brought forward to you guys since he's the armorer. I'm pretty sure he was. Maybe Q is the armorer. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought... I didn't know if I had any of those abilities.
You all had a Reuben-made clothes. I don't remember what Moonin. Moonin was an alchemist. You or Arma was an armorer.
Weapons.
You think you did weapons? Okay. And Arma was the armorer. So he tells you guys that... Yeah, tell me about it. I'm pretty sure it was Arma and not Arm, but I don't know why. I'll check my notes later.
It was Arma.
Was it Arma? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he tells you guys that he has begun the beginning process. I think this was the Australian. Illivis was the Australian. He says, I'm glad you guys have shown up. Oh God, he's here. Glad you guys have shown up. I really wish, excuse me. Brain's broken. I've begun the cutouts, the prints for the armor for Chief Ringo. And it's good because I need to decide, are you guys looking for heavy armor or a lighter form of armor for your friend, for your companion? He does tell you guys that the half plate, which is the best medium armor you guys could get for Chief Ringo, is going to be... Devin doesn't do math very well. It's going to be a little less than 3,000 gold pieces. If you guys wanted like plate mail for Chief Ringo, the best armor you can possibly get, it's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be like 5,000 gold pieces.
What's that gonna
Ish.
do to him though? Like, is it gonna make him slower? It'll obviously make him less stealthy. I
He's-
guess half-plate even would, but
He is strong enough that he doesn't have disadvantage on, or well, he will have disadvantage on stealth, but he's strong enough he can wear plate mail. It would give him the most armor, but the half plate's going to give him disadvantage anyway. I don't think his dex was high enough for you guys to want to do half plate. Now that I'm looking at it, I think his dex score isn't very high because half plate is 15 plus his dex to a max of 2. I don't think that's worth it for him.
We
So
could
he
do the
took-
breastplate, which would, if his dex is positive, I assume.
Yeah, 14 plus 2 would be the breastplate, and it would actually be 1,600 gold
What's
pieces.
the what is his base AC?
I'd have to look. Also, hi, Joey.
Hello. Glad to be here. Sorry I'm late. Had to go.
I
I
prepare
took
a
care of
card.
it. It was like you were never gone.
Perfect. Okay.
Demos
I
did
can't
help.
wait to
Good, man. 'Cause I thought I was late.
Demos did help them uncipher some parts of the notes. I think we'll probably fill you in when we get back from break. I have to pee. I think we're gonna break soon. Looking for his fucking stat block. It is in this general chat, right? Has it been that many weeks?
yeah.
Do we
I was
goof
gonna
around
say,
that much in this channel?
You need to put him in NPCs and junk so that he's like sort of randomly
Yeah.
available. I think.
That's a good
Got you.
point.
I got you. I'll do it right now. I found him. Hey, it's
We got him 2
14,
weeks ago. Oh shit.
right? His AC is 14.
14. So for
Not
2
terrible.
more AC, 1,600 gold. 1,600 is not a lot with what we're hauling around now.
His dex is +1, so he would only get 15,
15.
for this.
So
Yeah.
1,600 for the plus
Uh,
1. That's not great. Gotta go back to the bright page.
Where the fuck is my NPCs and junk? You said that, and I didn't realize that's what I named it. Good for me.
Yeah. We can't really raise his AC much.
Oh,
Yeah,
you missed
gotta
it,
keep this
Demos, but y'all just made 4,500 gold.
Yeah. For what? Exactly.
You got 3,000
Math,
for exonerating the church
Okay.
from
Fuck.
the crimes. You guys did eventually you guys asked Yatana more. We'll catch you up here in a minute. You guys got some gold from that. You got an extra 1,000 gold for giving her one of the intellect devourer corpses. You got 500 gold.
Giving
You
it his
got
love.
goblins chewing on a paper bowl. You guys got my wife's not here to stop him. I'll have to go pick that up in a second. The other 500 gold was from selling the mithril spear that Surge was carrying. Y'all took the chain off of it though, and attached that to Drix's mithril shield, so that he can throw a shield and bounce the chain around and be Ares, sort of. You'll get that reference.
So we're talking to Arma about this, I assume, yeah?
You are talking to Arma about the Randy wanted to go check on the price for the armor.
So what is could we, since armor is going to be difficult to get him, we would be paying 1,600 for a 1 increase. What are the odds of us being able to just like strap a shield on him and raise his AC by 2? Or better yet, a shield
Like a
on
Viking shield, just have the shields on the side.
Yeah, I was thinking it like the fucking side of a ship. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
Just put like
yeah.
like if we put one on each side, is that a +4 AC? Diminishing
What if
return?
like because we take like the Thrycreen, the instinctual knowledge for their carapace, and we find a way to like mimic that on the beetle?
I love it. You have
Wait.
natural armor. You might understand where we're coming from. You know.
I feel like
do as
he
well.
already has a carapace. He's a beetle.
Yeah, but we're saying add more.
Add
saying
more
add a-
carapace. to
give
the
him
Add a
beetle.
Beetle.
carapace
Extra
shield,
carapace.
essentially. Like a.
Molten metal.
He has the 3 horns. Can we just put 2 shields on the side where he's like a bulldozer and just like you ever seen Battle Bots?
It's
I'm
like
going
where
for something
his
like that.
where his beard would be, like the shields.
I pictured
Um,
we could just put a rope around him and rip him like Bakugan, and he'll just spin around and kill everybody.
Beyblade or Bakugan? That was
Yeah, whatever.
very-
Beyblade, same thing.
That's what we can use the chain for. Just rip it.
The chain of returning, just fucking.
I just
Oh, I looked
Yeah,
it up.
sword.
If we do that legally, I think so. You know,
I looked
like a
up chain
giant
of
bladed yo-yo.
returning. I did not realize Chain of Return. I knew it was from Critical Role after you said that, but Tiberius made that item, which I did not know.
Oh, I did not know that.
His is actually much more balanced than my Enchanted Chain, but that's okay.
It's okay for us.
For sure. So he does. It is. I'm gonna say 5,000 gold. It's actually more than that, but 5,000 gold to have full plate armor made for Ringo, which would put him at 18 armor class. He does tell you that if you start
can have
talking
all my
about
gold,
strapping
but-
shields to your Rhino Beetle, he tells you it would be difficult for it to fly with all the straps on it. He says when he builds, he has to custom make plate armor for this thing so that it can fly. So its wings can open up and do the way bugs are. They have all those wings underneath their wings. He says actually he can make it splint mail instead. It would be significantly cheaper.
We feel about the stealth disadvantage. I don't think we're going to be using Ringo on a lot of our
No.
stealthy missions.
I don't
And
think
he actually
Ringo's
tells you
muscle.
that. Yeah, he actually tells you that split mail would be 800 gold. It is significantly cheaper and
That's
faster
plus
for him to make.
And that's +3 to the armor class. I mean, I'm fine with doing that
Is it?
Uh,
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
because the plate I think is like $6,000.
It is $6,000. I
Yeah.
said 5 on a guess earlier, so we're sticking with 5. But
I appreciate the discount. I'll take it.
I mean, shoot, dude, I
Yeah,
sold
DC 17 ain't nothing to sneeze at.
I sold a brain for 1,000. We still got plus 200 on that exchange. I'm down.
So I think Splint, 800 gold, 17 AC.
I was about to say he's not going to take your money now. He tells you he does have to work on it. He says that will be much faster. He takes some measurements off of Chief Ringo.
Can
know,
make that a
maybe-
carapace? Got any chitin back there?
I like to think it's this moment of like he's like, we don't have any, but that's a great fucking idea. And you see his mind racing. about
Ramos
how
looks
he's-
around the zoo. Surely something here.
I was about to say you can
Use the
see
bus.
his mind racing. He's like, what can I go kill? I could get this carapace, et cetera. Oh. Mm-hmm. Y'all could go get some for me if you wanted to. Y'all want a side
Whereabout?
quest?
Always.
I mean,
He tells you that he has heard the best way to make carapace armor is to kill these massive centipedes that often live on abandoned asteroids.
Ooh.
You are given a very vague description. He says he knows they're not legend, but he knows they're difficult to kill and that they're very large. But adventurers make very good coin, much like dragons, hunting them down and returning the massive amount of chitin and pinchers and legs that you get off such a big creature.
Oh, a highly prized prey, you say?
Yes. Now he does
That's
stress.
important. Great sneaky
Asteroid
man.
Rimmer Haze.
that's what I'm thinking. I was gonna ask, like, does Damos know what a Remahaze is? Is that
Make an nature check if you wanted to. If you want to know what a Remor Haze is.
Rimmeroids.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh god, that's the worst one you've ever said.
I don't know. I kind of liked it. Remor Haze
You know what
is
it's
big,
doing
dude. They're
for?
scary.
No, not Rimmerhaze. The other one.
Remoroids? I mean, I assume it's a steroid joke. I guess I could.
Oh,
No,
it was not.
asteroid.
It
Rimmer
was-
Haze on an asteroid.
I thought you were making a
Oh.
hemorrhoid joke.
I did
Well, it
too.
sounds
That's
like
what was going
hemorrhoids.
on.
That's what I heard.
Which, but it's a Rimor, like Rimor Haze, Rimmeroid.
I got you, dog.
I didn't say it was a good one. You missed my like button promo.
He did. He gets another green highlight. Brandon
Love it.
killing the green highlights. I love it. It's great. Let me make sure I called that the wrong thing. What is this thing actually? If it's not, they're actually called megapedes. Excuse me. A
that sounds like a
megapede.
fucking metal band. I'm about it.
It is. Sorry, I have to decide just how much he stresses to you guys. These are not to be fucked with. Yeah, to give you guys a little bit of structure, he tells you they've been known to hunt and eat young dragons. They are very big and a very prize kill, as
Wow.
Drix has
I'm a
said.
young dragon. Oh my.
Do they
Drix is
travel in
getting like
groups,
visibly excited in the back.
or is it like dragons where they're alone?
No, he tells you that because they are so big, they do generally tend to be by themselves. He tells you he's heard they're poisonous and that some of them have abilities. He's not certain if they're magical or psionic, but they do seem to be able to attack from a distance. They have some kind of they not just gonna bite you.
No,
So
we
like
did
you're
just-
talking red
A
meat or
less
white meat?
talkative dragon.
Pretty gross. Let's talk
We
about
did-
Do
a little bit.
mantises eat centipedes?
Mantises eat anything, dog. Like,
Yeah, so he tells you they can be found in some asteroids. They could also be found on many desert planets or desert biomes.
that sounds like a varmint and victual expansion for that.
What kind of coin are we talking here?
Well, this isn't for. He says what you do with the things you harvest off of it is up to you. This would just allow you to bring me the materials I needed to create a more natural splint mail for your Chief Ringo.
How would that affect our price if we're providing material?
If you're providing materials,
point.
I'll give you 250 gold pieces off.
What if we bring extra for you to sell?
Or in
The
a
whole
Pokeball?
centipede.
I mean,
That
creature
would
containment set.
depend. That would depend on the amount. When you make a mention of like maybe trying to bring one back, you get an emphatic "do not do that" from him. He tells you that you are likely to encounter creatures up to 100 to 150 feet long. He says
That's
we
what I was
cannot
thinking.
contain things of that. We do not have the ability to contain one of these things.
I think the little
Um,
feathery one would be much more enthusiastic about this. I'd like to talk to him, please.
But he says it would depend on if you guys gave them 1,000 gold worth of megapede parts, not gonna pay anything for your armor. See, he says we will be fair with the how that is done. Of course,
Quick
I
question.
can't start it until you bring those things back. Now I could start a metal armor now. Go ahead, Drix. I'm sorry.
Sounds like we're starting a metal
Since
band.
Drix is from right, since Drix is from a desert biome, would he know anything about this? Even if it's just legends.
So, I like to think from Drix's perspective, and this is hilarious. And that's so funny you asked this. From
Come on,
Drix's
Uncle
perspective,
George.
no, this is probably the closest thing that Drix has heard of to Shai-Hulud, to the sandworms in Dune. Like
I was gonna bring that
this
up.
is the thing that lurks in the desert that some tribes may worship as a god. That if you are not careful when you cross through the desert, this massive instead of a worm, it's a centipede. Will
Well,
get you.
That tracks, man.
They're not
I
quite
recommended
like
we walk it regularly.
yeah, they're not quite like dune worms in the fact that like people can ride them or tame them. They're much more rare than like an Arrakis worm would be. We need a Dune campaign so bad. Please God help me.
I mean, we got all
Oh,
the
I'm being a starter
tools.
car.
Just send us.
I mean,
Ah!
we could go to a desert planet right now. Like,
10 sessions of a
That's
Dune.
what I'm saying.
Stop, y'all stop. That made me excited. We're not gonna do that.
Like that'll be Arc 2. Just
Oh,
change
Devin.
whatever planet to frickin'
A desert
Dune.
planet.
Oh, Devin, we're
Yeah.
doing
For the
it.
glory of
We're
House
doing it.
Harkonnen.
We're gonna do 5 to 10 sessions of a survival campaign. We go to Dark Sun for 5 sessions.
Once
Oof.
read about a crazy man who snorted some drugs and read the stars, and I feel like this is lining up some.
Go ahead and make a hydration roll.
Uh,
God.
Oh, do the fucking
Don't.
hyper realistic survival.
You can lick this
I-
mood deep.
I think that would be fun for 10-ish just sessions. It wouldn't be fun to do for a whole ass campaign where like you're trying to track water and food and all that stuff. But sorry, Drix, it is kind of like a mythic feature, especially since you come from a desert background. To catch or kill one of these things would put you in a mythic status amongst your tribe. Especially since y'all put so much emphasis on the size of your kill. They are very large. They're very dangerous. I'd like to
Well, if that's
stress
the case.
they are very dangerous.
Well, if that's the case, I'll tell the party about all the spooky stories I've heard about the megapedes.
Okay. Good. That's I think
Cue danger. I laugh at the face of danger. Ha ha ha.
Did he mention this
wow.
is like a big old snake but with legs?
Oh yeah.
No,
Very
see,
serpentine.
bugs are different. Bugs are different. They don't trigger the bugaboos.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, there's
I'm quite
There's a
fond of
trauma
stepping on
reason, but-
buggos. It's fine.
So says you.
Drix like shoots you a glance.
Carapace into a giant, terrifying-looking monster like my black
I
and red
know.
form.
I think he was propositioning one of y'all. Let's just step
Dude,
on
I will
buggos. That's a
wild shape
proposition
into
if
a
I've
snake
ever
if
heard
you don't
one.
watch it.
We don't understand proposition, okay?
Like danger.
goes
I'm
right
not
over their head.
opposed. Not opposed to going and tracking one of these things down. Meta-wise, could he give us a creature to compare it to, where we might have an understanding of if we are outmatched, or perhaps
Yeah,
a
they look
value
like this.
between 1 and 20 that's a challenge rating, that might give us some indicator.
I'm sorry, friend. I can't tell you.
No, I know.
If it was not very far above your challenge rating, I would not have him give you a warning.
If it was not very far above, so it is very far.
A little bit.
Anybody have any true sight? Anyway.
Would you say it's
Uh,
worse than a Rimmer
I
Haze?
have something.
I would have to look at.
They're like
Oh, no,
CR10.
I would have to look at a Remember Haze. But also, I shouldn't tell you that. So I will look at a Remember Haze and see if I can find a vague statement to make. But you'll get what you get.
I think in the artist section of Sharn, I saw a painting of a pretend battle with a megapede.
Oh, I scrolled too far up.
That's sick. What is this from?
What is that from? I saw the book art.
Oh,
That
It
is
should be.
Uncle Dave.
It says DM Dave Publishing.
It's probably a
I'm
home
gonna eat
thing.
the fuck out of
It
that
looks
thing.
sick,
Um,
though.
Did you make your a 10?
Yeah, not a very good roll.
So Demos, you don't know. Let's put it this way: don't know much about Rimmer Hazes. Don't know much about Megapedes.
Yeah.
You do know that they inhabit the same stratosphere, meaning they inhabit the same level of danger. That was a bad way to put that.
Oh, I got you now.
I guess he did also inform us that these things sometimes eat young dragons, and we fought a young dragon, and I think it almost killed most of us.
Oh, we kicked its ass.
Yeah.
Done
that-
it pretty well.
It ran the fuck off.
I've slept since then and forgot
We
all
didn't do
about that
bad.
battle.
Revisionist history.
Also, Zephyr was out of the line of fire, so Zephyr
Flawless
saw
victory.
no danger.
Is that where we got
Zephyr
our
was in the
scars from?
back, like, eh.
Yeah, I think that is where
Yeah,
y'all
two of
dropped.
you did drop. Yeah, that's true.
I'm still missing. I pat my stomach. I'm like, I'm still missing a chunk of carapace. I'm aiming to get it back from one of these stupid giant centipedes.
No, that's a good idea.
You'll
We
get
just
it. You'll get
replaced
it back the next molt, Randy.
You guys do have some plates from Big Okra.
Is that? Hold on.
What kind of would that be? Splint mail still?
You might have splint mail made out of it if you wanted to. I've been trying to be quiet about it, but one of your party members has told me they have plans for that stuff.
Wasn't me.
Thank you, Devin. I forgot
Wasn't
about that.
me.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it was.
Joey was trying to sell it, and Joey would have no way of knowing because you only told me. But I was over here like, no, don't
I
sell
forgot
it.
all about that shit, man.
I mean, no, I'm fine with keeping Big Okra for something else.
Oh yeah, I got a cool idea for it.
Ben's mentioned he
Honestly-
wanted to do something with it. You were trying to sell it, and I was like, oh,
Armor
What,
aside,
fried
I've
up
been
in tempura batter.
ew. Okra and tempura better? Ew.
What?
Tempura makes everything more delicious. You ever had veggies in
It really
tempura?
does.
The
Yeah.
bento boxes they have. At
You can
fucking-
tempura fry
Yeah.
anything.
Tempura sweet potatoes. Tempura
Oh,
zucchini.
God,
Tempura sweet
yeah.
potatoes are my favorite.
Like a
Yeah,
whole
bro.
soft shell
Tempura
crab.
okra.
Oh.
That might have made my
Oh,
dick
it's
twitch.
crab, yeah.
Tempura,
Tempura brain.
sweet
I have
potatoes.
to edit that right out.
Yes.
What was that last one?
Nobody heard that, right? I was talking
We
over.
were, we,
it.
were
I didn't
talking, we were talking about Drix. So he likes
boy.
brains. So some tempura brains. He's got big plans
Uh,
for okra. So
even
Drix-
heard
Try it.
something
Drix
about
ate
Big
adhesive.
O and was like, "Oh my god, Big O's."
Yeah, I heard tempura sweet potato, and I had to control myself for a moment.
Yeah.
I used to
That's
hate
Pinto
the
sweet
box.
worst thing
potatoes.
I've ever
Oh
had.
yeah, soft shell crab sandwich. Shut the fuck
Sweet
up, Ben. You
potatoes.
can't
Oh
do
yeah,
that
baby.
bit.
All right,
I
guys,
made
we're
those
gonna go
earlier
on
this week.
break because y'all are making me hungry.
Before we go on
I-
break,
I-
I do
Yeah,
have a
let's do it.
legitimate question. Where does the stuff live around the rolls table? Like where you get the scars and crap? I can't remember where that lives.
I don't think I have it somewhere y'all can find it. It's somewhere where I
I
can
thought
find
you
it.
did.
Billy. Would you?
I
But
think it
it-
I
was.
remember
Yeah. I think it's in
seeing-
rules and stuff.
The only reason
Potential
I asked
systems.
is because I need to
I don't
know,
think it's
like,
somewhere where it lives.
if you
I'll
wanted to
find
get
it.
healed from that in like a legitimate manner, what you got to do it. Because like the massive scar that I have doesn't really have any large repercussions for me as a character that I play. But if I wanted to fix it, like, what do I do?
I got you. See, I have a link where I can pull it up quickly. I just don't have it like pinned for you guys somewhere. I have it right now. I'm
The
grabbing it.
mention of it is in our like the injuries and when you get them is listed in our thing, but it doesn't have the actual list of injuries.
Yeah, no, I'm putting that list of injuries in the general chat. I hope right now.
Boom.
Oh,
I don't know what that
general-
has been, which is making me
God,
so
that-
hungry.
Soft shell
No,
crab.
you. Part of me really hopes we get to run like you guys are the generals of an army kind of thing, because that's what's in my book right now, and I want to play a paladin that leads armies to victory. I think it would be fun.
Oh, this is gonna be my second reference
That
tonight. The
sounds pretty cool.
Generals of Hell.
I didn't get that reference.
'Cause
Thank you
earlier-
for putting that in a more permanent place, Joey.
Earlier
Okay,
we
Doc.
were doing the Cipher, and you were like, it has a bunch of other stuff in it too, and I was like, yeah, Wither and Smother, and then you said we were
Yeah.
generals just now, so I said to the Generals of Hell.
Oh no, we'll I'll do my best to put my brain together. We'll give Joey a quick update when we get back. Let's go ahead and take our break. All right, y'all. Sounds like you would like to go talk to Vera. Is there anything you guys would like? You guys are back at You guys are at Sharn Barn. You've just finished
Is
up.
this a new day? Can I shoot my gun again? I don't know where we are, Devin. Please help.
This is a new day. You did not shoot your gun on this day. You guys, this is the 19th, I believe.
Any window?
We also new day. I don't. Man, if it's over my head, that was a reach. I'm like the most perverted person I know. Anyway,
Can I like
Uh,
Master
part, that's
Sensei
fine.
Randy, like
just don't talk about
blindfold
it.
him, teach him to use
Wait,
his other
how
Can we,
senses?
An
can we
apple
do
on
this
his
like
head.
what's the name of that movie? Is it like Ghost or something where like he helps
I
with
am
the
not
pod,
Patrick
doing
Swayze.
that. I am,
It's
Uh,
Ghost,
I
yeah.
am not doing
but
that.
you like
Hold
hold
on.
the revolver?
2 seconds. Y'all are still technically at the Sharn Barn. What I need to know if you guys are going to tell him to wait, don't do anything, or if you want him to go ahead and start a metal splint mail for Chief Ringo. Be 800 gold for that spring mail. That mail.
We'll be
I
back
say
with
start
Sandy
it.
Perks.
So no, we have the money. We're deciding if we want to do like the custom splint mill from the Beast, or if we want him to do.
But when
metal.
do you think, by the time we go get the carapace and come back, I feel like how long will
far
the
is the
splint mail
trip?
take? A couple days?
Well, the thing is, if he does
Yeah.
the metal, we don't have to do the we're doing one or the other. We're not doing like a
Oh,
mix.
okay.
You could
I mean,
do
I'm
that.
down to kill space centipedes just because, but if we like, but I
Yeah,
do feel like I would prefer to get at the chitinous armor just because I love the aesthetic that we're getting, like especially Mantis being our name, and now we have a giant fucking bug. Like, I mean, it's
Okay.
becoming
Like,
a thing.
I'm tempted to get armor out of it, and I can't even wear armor. I actually decrease my armor class.
Yeah, rogues, man.
Sounds like you want
Uh,
him to wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do the nicer
Yeah,
armor. Question to the party: do we need to up security with A1 if these people are trying to like snatch him? Like, I feel like we've been very chill about. He's in the background. He's fine, but like, feel like
Technically, they've always been trying to snatch him.
Yeah.
And you guys
Yeah,
have
We've been kind of
like,
absent
but
parents
sometimes
a
we
little
leave him
bit.
at the house. I
in the
mean,
house.
like, do we need to?
You guys have also been pretty, consistent about disguising him. So for the most part, when he is with you guys, he is disguised. That doesn't mean that's foolproof or anything.
Just a regular gnome.
So, God, I feel like we lose him
Oh,
so
and we
much.
taught him to disguise himself.
We have him back now, though. Like he's with us currently. He's no longer with Vera.
He's either on the ship at Mantis HQ or with you guys. I should be better about asking which one that is. But
Yeah. I think we should let him stay inside when we're not there, but that's just me.
Mhm.
You know, stay on the ship. Just kidding. Don't do that. Okay, that's fine.
Stay at the house. Don't answer the door.
I think
Yeah.
he's okay, probably.
He is the
The ballista
kid
in the
from Home
back
Alone.
door.
I feel
If
like
anyone calls, we're in the shower.
he's probably learned a little bit from the first time we ran into him, where he was just like sort of being a doofus outside the wall, right? Like he's a little bit more safe.
He has seen some shit since he's been with you guys.
Are we teaching him new spells?
Please.
Yeah,
You've
have
not
crossbow.
said anything.
Hey, hold on a
Wait.
second. I actually
Yeah.
have a healing spell as part of my sword now. Can I use that to teach him a healing spell?
Are we doing a multi-market level scheme of spells? I'll make you an automated spell, and you teach the gnome the spell, and then we both have the spell, and then it's
I'm gonna rule
then
that
I
since
fill the gnome full of
your
spores.
sword casts that spell, that you can't teach it to him. You don't know the somatic or the verbal components. Like your sword technically casts the spell.
Could he watch me as I enchant an item casting that spell? So he's seeing me cast it to enchant the
I
item.
You know
I
how
could
to
teach him
cast that
cure
spell?
wounds.
If I know how to cast the spell already. Like if
Yeah,
I could
so
teach
I
him
would,
cure
He
wounds.
got it onto the
I would
note.
rule if you know how to actually cast a spell, you can teach it to him. If you want to teach him how to enchant things, you can do that as well, because it's just casting the spell over and over
yeah.
again.
Well, I
every
was
day.
saying, can I use the same time that I'm enchanting an item as his training time? Like one cast fulfill both requirements, I guess is what I'm saying. Because I'd have to cast it.
Yeah, I think that
usually a couple of
but I
days.
think that makes sense because like you have to cast the spell to put it on an item anyway. So like it's kind of the idea like he's gonna see you cast a spell multiple days in a row. He might get a chance to practice at it. Um, so I would allow something like you can double up that time. Um, it
So I'm
sounds like
getting
y'all are
efficient.
going back to Mantis HQ for a second, so we're gonna move you guys back
Mhm.
there. You guys were talking about something. Randy, you are very welcome to make your
Pew, 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 pew.
sleight of hand rolls if you would like. Anyone else that would like to, now's the time to
Two.
investigate anything else you would like. You guys have unciphered all the notes. You've not taken a look at the weird implant you found in Oswald's body.
Oh,
You also
yeah.
can speak to each other about anything you would like before you go and do whatever it is you would like to do. It sounds like you're going to talk to Vera, but that's up to you guys. Randy, take your third of 4. Checkbox, please. Randy's getting your punch
Hey,
card.
baby.
Excuse me. Randy's getting pretty decent. You think back to the advice Echo gave you earlier in this session. This would have been yesterday evening about the way your eyes should evaluate a target, the way that you should kind of lead your hand, the way you can connect your eyes to your hand when shooting at things. You don't hit like a bunch, 3 bullseyes back to back, but you get a couple of bullseyes followed by some very close ones. You're getting much more used to this kind of unwieldy pistol. 44 Magnums. It's not like one of the 2 or 3 inch barrels. It's a big old 4 or 5 inch barrel. You got a pretty large handgun there.
Wrist. Oy.
You gotta know the
Earlier he
strength.
had bad rolls, and like to imagine he like quick drawed from his small hand, and the small hand was like, boom.
Can't handle it. And then Echo was like, "You're doing it all wrong. Just let me show you something really quick. Help me out."
Echo helped him
And
out.
he came up behind you and helped you pull your gun from its holster. Yeah. I've read the Danielle Steele novel.
He
Come
held
on.
it up right at the elbow. Anyway, I think we take the
Whispered in
chip
your ear.
and I think we just shove it right up against Zephyr's leg. We just see what happens.
What's right up beside Zephyr's leg?
Everyone wants a piece of my leg.
I don't
Giant.
hear anyone
Figure it out.
saying no.
Are you saying just to compare them or to see if they're reactive?
I'm more
Yep,
just wondering.
mixing improper chemicals, alchemical ingredients can be quite disastrous if you're not careful.
I just wanted to hear Zephyr talk. We should probably investigate this thing first.
How would you like to take a look at this? Y'all would not know it as a chip. Your characters do not know it as a chip. Microchips don't exist. It is much bigger than that. I like to imagine it like my hand size, maybe to give you all a better idea. It does look like a chip for you as players, but it is quite large.
Make a technology roll.
Ironically, the person who might be able to help us with this is the person we're talking about going to see. Vera DeCaneth, as an artificer, might have some good insight into it. Not saying we should share it
That's
with
not a bad
her.
idea.
That's
Well, we kind of trust her, and I feel like there's enough of us where if she tried to do anything shady, we could just be like, "I'll shank you."
we
So
do
you
also
guys-
have her
you
entire
guys-
project like in our hands, so she's
You
kind of.
guys did determine, Demos determined like pretty quick after you found it, it doesn't actually seem to have any magical properties. It does seem to be psionic in nature. Makes it a little more funky to identify,
Do we know
to deal
anyone
with.
who has experience in psionics?
What was C-3PO's name? What was his name?
His name, C-3PO.
Are you talking about
C3PO?
Oz? The guard?
Oz, yeah. Just plug it in the back of Oz, see what
Yeah.
happens.
Oz?
I almost fucked him up the first time I saw him.
We do
Oh,
know
yeah,
somebody
fucking-
who knows psionics, but
I was prepared for that to be a
how
fight.
can he use it?
I know psionics.
Here's how he uses it. I take it and just put it up on my head and like, I am evil. I will take over the world.
Watch something actually happen now. Just
It absorbs into your brain. Good luck.
And
It
if
says, you put it on your head? Question mark.
during
Alright,
this
over my
little
hood. Got a hood.
Echo
The back pedal.
Echo is a little goofy for a second. Nothing bad happens. If one of you, in this moment of being gathered around the table, bouncing ideas off of one another, if one of you like slap it up against Zephyr's leg, nothing happens. And for the most part, you can't get much of a reaction out of it if you hold it up to multiple surfaces, or you put it up against your body, or put it in your pocket, or put it on your head, or whatever. You're not having a lot of luck getting any kind of reaction out of the thing itself.
Just imagine we're like the Goonies. I have no clue what to do with this
I
thing.
poke
just
it with
like
a
slapping
stick.
it on stuff.
Oh god.
Like we're cavemen around it. Just ooh.
Oh,
Hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea. Maybe we should go take it to Vera and just see what she thinks.
Good idea.
We're headed there anyway.
Before we leave, there is something I want to do first.
Can we show it to A1 before we do that?
Oh yeah.
Good. What do you want to do for your leave, Trix?
I am going to go talk to Chief Ringo. He's speaking with animals.
Okay. Let me check his intelligence.
Just to kind of
for you.
solidify a bond with them, I guess. I'm going to explain to him how, like, where I'm from, Thrycreen kind of herd and look after these kind of beetles kind of deal. And I want to let him know that, like, he's part of my flock now kind of deal.
Let me check his intelligence really quick. Okay. So you reach out and you can gather he is a bug. So his intelligence it does not seem to have a language, a spoken language, like most intelligent creatures would. But you are able to communicate with him through concepts, and you do impress upon him the concept that he is now part of your flock. I like that you use flock instead of pack. You can tell it soothes this thing's ego in a little bit of. We can imagine something that big is not used to being pushed around, at least inside of its ecosystem. You gather it seems to be a very proud thing. It inhabits the top of its chain, which, obviously from a Thrycreen perspective is not the top of the chain, but from his perspective, he probably is. And it seems pleased. You can tell that not only is it surprised that you were able to communicate with it in a way that it can understand, but it is pleased to find itself in the company of what at the very least it can tell is dangerous foes. You get this kind of concept from it that it's happy it doesn't have to fight any of you. You all have some of you have chitin on, you have armor on. Some of you are chitinous. It is happy to see buggos. It is happy to see a powerful group. So you do manage to kind of impress upon it that it is one of you now, and you get
Welcome to the clutch, Ringo.
Yeah, you get the concept back. It is pleased to be part of a clutch.
Oh, the power of
That's
friendship.
really cute, actually.
I keep forgetting I'm a druid. I'm like, I need to talk to him more.
Give him an
Yeah,
extra stroke on
that's
his little horn there, buddy.
And I like to especially think it loves Drix and Randy. Being Thrycreen, smelling like, I don't know if bugs smell, but they have to have some similar sensation, because I bet they can't see very
I'd
well.
imagine there's pheromones.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Pheromones. It's very pleased.
Did you
I
catch
know.
any of that, Randy?
I don't know. Did I go with you? Is it an intimate
Randy can't
moment
speak.
between?
So,
I just That's all
Don't
three
man
to
up with the
me.
man and his buggalo. You know, you gotta give him a little time.
You say Threek.
The only communication that I have with it is giving little pats on his horn.
I do want to witness it, if for nothing else, from a academic curiosity. Like, this
I
is
can't
fascinating. I
tell.
love learning about other cultures.
Is he trying to eat
Well-
Chief Ringo?
I think though.
Nah, just bonding with him.
Hey, never eat him.
What better way
Well-
to bond than over food?
I like to imagine it's like in the movies where like the guy goes up to the wild horse, you know, like whoa, 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 kind of deal.
Okay,
Nemos-
so it's clearly docile behavior.
No, I like to think that, Drix, while probably communicating telepathically using his psionics as Thrycreen would be naturally to do, Ringo might have some more. Like, he might buzz his wings without taking flight, or he might click his mandibles together. I don't know exactly how insects communicate, but, most things have some form of sound communication, except, well, I guess mammals, dogs, and cats like to communicate through body language, but maybe there's a little bit of that going on. But you do manage, Drix. I like the way you said that. You kind of establish a bond. You let him know he's part of this pack, a part of his clutch. It's a much better word for bugs. And you can tell he is pleased to be part of what he perceived to be a powerful pack, a powerful clutch. Pardon. Okay, interesting. There was one other thing I think someone was about to do or say before you guys left. Sorry.
I just suggested showing the chip to A1 to see what he thought.
A1.
Mm.
I feel like I trust A1 more than I trust Vera. I don't know.
A little bit.
So A1 would, if you hand it to him, nothing bad happens or anything like that. He kind of turns it over in his hands and looks at it, and he says, I cannot identify this item. And he kind of looks at Demos. He says, have you done so?
I believe I did, actually.
Did you cast the identify spell?
I think we did, but we determined it wasn't arcane, and because it was psionic, I couldn't really try, because it specifies a magic item
Magical
or if
item?
there's a spell on it. Yeah.
So
Can I try to like tap into it psionically, or
you could.
I thought about messaging it, but I don't want it to be like a speaker or like a
Let me think
not a speaker,
about
but a mic.
how
It might be
I
applicable.
want to do this. Rex, roll a d20 for me, please.
Just shout into
Oh,
it
boy.
telepathically.
Not a roll, just a d20. Why?
That just sounds like odd or even with extra steps.
It's not odd or
See?
even. I'm adding some things to this. It's close. Okay, Drix. You reach out to it psionically. It is a different process metaphysically from magic. I talked about earlier, this was probably like fucking 20 sessions ago, where I talked about how magic is there's mana. It is innate. In 5e, there's a weave. You reach out and manipulate these strings of magic to make magic happen. Psionic is not like that. Psionics comes from inside. It is very much your mental fortitude and your willpower. You reach out to it psionically, Drix, and you gather a couple of things. This is definitely a psionic piece of equipment. It was fashioned from psionics, with psionics in mind. You gather that it is a conduit of some sort. It seems to be able to transfer information. It seems to be able to transfer thoughts, both into its host and from its host at extreme rates. And with your role, I guess you would gather that whatever it was almost like a pipeline of some sort. I think you would probably, with the bonus I was thinking of, you probably just barely are able to glean the idea that missing information Demos was talking about was probably coming from this device. You gather that it was from some source, was communicating with some source, and exchanging a massive amount of information at any given time. You gather that these places you couldn't identify in the cipher probably were being fed to Oswald from another place, or excuse me, to Surge from another place. You gather that the scope of it, the bandwidth that it possessed, likely would overwhelm the mind of most mortals. It seems to be a piece of equipment designed specifically to overwhelm the senses and the mind of most mortals. It is very much a dangerous piece of equipment. I like to think even you, Drix, upon reaching out to it, you can realize that it is very dangerous. That if you or one of your Thrycreen brethren or one of your party members were to be injected with this thing, it would be supremely difficult for anybody to kind of mentally defend from the rush of information that would overwhelm them.
Disadvantage on intelligence checks. All right.
Well,
I'm gonna precepts.
I'm gonna convey all this to the party, but I'm gonna let them know that like there's still, I got like a general idea of what's going on, but there's still so many unknown variables that we probably should go talk to Vera about it if she can give us more insight.
I'm almost wondering, since it seems to be less like mechanical, arcane, and more psionic, is there somebody at Moorgrave who might be like a have some knowledge in this field that might be able to like? I think I know what mind flayers are. I think I passed that check in the last game.
You
Is
do
there
have
somebody
a
I
general
would
idea.
know at the college who might be able to give me some more information if this is something they do?
I have to burp.
I'm also
So-
curious if
Go ahead.
it just opens you up to all psionic presences, or is it like kind of like a signature where it's only from a certain source?
I'm gonna
Like,
say with
could
Randy
Randy?
Rix's role, that was hard to dictate, hard to tell if it was specifically keyed to anything. To answer Demos's question, I would say there is, I'm going to use another analogy to make things quick. There is probably like a defense against the dark arts, similar like teacher that kind of specializes in, these are the scary things that you need to be afraid of as a wizard.
Lupin is protecting me from Dementors. I mean,
yeah.
this
And
guy's protecting
so-
me from mind flayers.
You don't know of anybody that specializes in psionics. That would be the closest thing Demos could think of, is the person that specializes in, the person that would know the most
Teach
about
me
mind flayers.
clemency and legitimacy.
Yeah, the person that knows the most about mind flayers would probably be the professor in charge of, like, here's the things wizards should be scared of. Here's how you protect yourself from them.
Because I imagine Drix's psionic knowledge is more like tribal and primitive kind of deal. It's more like intuitive.
It is. I would definitely agree with that. I would think Drix would definitely understand. This is a much more intellectual understanding of psionics. This chip comes from a much more intellectual understanding of psionics.
Kind of
Psionics.
disappointed. I was hoping we'd have one of the pieces that Aloy uses.
Yeah.
Focus.
I was tempted to install it until you said like it sends messages from things, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not
I'm
going to be able
still
to build.
semi-tempted.
That doesn't sound cool.
I feel like
if we
it's
can
going to put us on a
communicate.
map. That's going to give them a fucking drop pin. They may already have may already have a beat on its location by the device alone, but I feel like if one of us wears it, that's a dead
But if
it's
they're
like
doing
sending
it-
a signal out into space and seeing what finds you.
Wearing
Like,
it sounds
it's not
really
supposed to be what
hard
you want
when
to
you-
find you.
You also found it embedded in a dude's spine. So wearing it sounds very difficult.
That was my concern, was not with like them knowing our location because we have it, because I assume it has to be powered by something. Like maybe they could ping it, but I feel like if that happened, something would have to occur, right? Like he would detect something. It wouldn't just be like, here's a piece of metal that nothing happened to. But I can't say that I actually understand how psionics work fully in this universe.
I'm not even. Drix isn't even sure exactly.
Yeah.
Let's
just
go meet
does it.
Professor. Let's go meet Professor Lupin. He'll fill us in.
Okay. You guys do venture your way to Moorgrave. That's where you guys would like to go. Speak now, if not.
He's got the best
To
info now.
Moorgrave.
Let's do it.
That's a warehouse. Damn it, Devin. Moorgrave and the warehouse have the same background.
Is that where we should be going?
Nah, Moorgrave's where you're going.
It's actually Professor Thelwis, I believe.
Thelwis. Thelwis. Thelwis.
Tegwlis.
L. Oh.
David Thelwis.
I feel like I can make a joke I don't get. Anyway.
It's
You
the
guys,
actor who played him in the movie.
I see. You guys
It's-
go.
Oh yeah.
Demos
That was
leads you
Connie,
guys
right?
to another section of Moorgrave. This may be y'all may not have been to this part of the school. It is really it is a college, so it is, as you would imagine, a college campus, pretty large. You guys have been to a section where Bree and Calden and stuff, their office is and things like that. I like to imagine it's very similar looking, but maybe on a different side of the campus. And if you go approach him, he does recognize Demos pretty much immediately. Demos has been around the school for a little while, and is pleasant and asks how he can help you guys. Sorry, a lot of the tokens are see-through. It must be the layer I'm on. And if you ask him about the chip, what are you asking him specifically, Demos, or anybody?
Feel comfortable enough around the staff to present him with the item and see if he knows of its origin, or tell him the circumstances of which we found it. Explain that we eliminated all the intellect hours we could find. However, there's very likely more about, and try to express the concerns that I have of this being a much bigger issue.
So he would probably do like you did. He would take 10 minutes to cast Identify, to attempt to identify the item, and
Yes,
once
I
he
turned it off and back on.
Yeah, once he got the same vibe that you, or the same reading that you did, that it was a psionic thing and not a magical thing, he would kind of furrow his frown. He'd look at it. And he would tell you, "This is unfortunate. As much as I would love to be of help, I'm sure you may have already realized this thing is crafted from psionics, and given the story you have told me, this is perturbing in many ways. Many illithids have psionic abilities. They abhor magic for the most part. This is likely something built either by an illithid or by something else that prefers psionics over magic. Which, of course,
I get
makes
it.
it hard, makes it difficult for us to attempt to do anything with. And he actually can't even tell you some of the stuff Drake tells you guys, because he doesn't have any psionic abilities to kind of wrap around it and see what it does. He tells you, he says, how do he put this? How do I put this? Illithids are known to take psionics to the kind of intellectual level that we do with magic. It is their equivalent of magic in many ways. They will study psionic abilities and psionic powers for many years, like us wizards do. And it's not too much of a stretch. Most of you would understand, or well, Demos understands at least. Intellect devourers are usually affiliated with some form of illithid. They are not. They don't just exist free
things,
form. Yes, they do not exist as wild things. They are normally associated with a illithid or an illithid colony. But he can't really tell you a whole lot because it is psionic, but he does tell you he believes, this is something, whether it's an illithid or not, has studied psionics to such a level to be able to craft this item.
It's probably linked to one of those brain skinners you were talking about, Deimos.
Brain Skinner?
Excuse me, Bray, what?
Mind Flayer, whatever the name is. Drix isn't intelligent.
No, would you happen to know of any way to perhaps identify their location if they're within the city or beneath it? I assume, but I mean, everyone has an Underdark. I assume that it's the same, that Mind Flayers primarily occupy that territory.
You were, I think Yatana Moore told you guys earlier that for the most part, illithids can be found in Kyber or in asteroids. The interior of an asteroid would be pretty much just like Kyber. She has heard rumors they can be found in asteroids or in wild space, etc., but it wouldn't be uncommon to find them pretty much anywhere in Eberron because they do inhabit the Underdark, or Kyber, excuse me. You guys were told that earlier, that they, it is unfortunate. I likened it to bed bugs earlier. It's almost like finding out there's bed bugs or something in your home. It's like if you find intellective hours or something, it's like having a very serious infestation in your area, but it could pop up virtually anywhere in the globe.
Truly terrifying. I say we take this information to Vera, pass it along since this is all tied to her, and I don't know, see what we where we go from here. I don't know of a way to identify where these mind flayers are, just that they exist. Uh, while we could go down, there's a lot of other shit down, and need a little more direction, I think.
No, I agree. Started with her. We know that they want something she has, or at least has access to. Makes sense.
Deimos will thank the professor, and I appreciate your time. I know this is something I probably should have taken to the library, but I thought that you might be your unique insight is always much appreciated. By the way, I just have to share this with you. Look what I can do. And I hold out my hand and I cast minute meteors and create the little meteors of energy that swirl out of my palm. Like I've learned so much stuff. Like off campus. You're right. On-site learning really is the best teacher. I appreciate your lessons.
What level spell is that?
It's
Fucking
I think a
ask.
fourth. Let me see.
A fourth.
It's a
So if
third, but I can cast. Oh no, I can't because okay, yeah, it's a third.
Okay, it's a third. But still, for the most part, he looks very impressed. You guys, and for the raw, a third level spell is about as high as most average spellcasters would learn to cast. Y'all are adventurers, things a little different,
Yeah.
but for most common people, that's as good as you're gonna get. So he does look pretty impressed for the most part. He being very advanced professors might be able to cast some fourth level spells, but for as far as the common folk go, you've reached the top of the tier. That's the weird thing about D&D. Like you start casting fifth level spells, you're a fucking stud. Japson, you're a goddamn stud. Sorry, the True Cosmic commercials killed me.
You don't know what that's about, but all right.
It's like a t-shirt commercial, dude. Just it's ridiculous, dude.
Deimos kind of feels like I was never very good at evocation. He was a very forgiving professor. Divination really helped me squeak by there. What's important is the degree, not the GPA, and that's all I have.
B's get degrees. So do C's if you don't need hope. Sorry, y'all
I got
folks.
through most of high school with a C.
But say most of y'all in other states that don't have hope. I'm sorry.
For real though.
It's real dumb. Hope is cool. Play lottery. Support Georgia Hope.
Yeah, you gotta go to college to use it though.
Yeah, it's.
But it is nice that it exists. So
I have lots of mixed feelings about college. Anyway, you guys sounds like you're gonna make your way to Vera. Please speak now if you'd like to do anything on the way, or if you just don't want to go talk to Vera.
Vera.
I'll talk to Vera.
You guys make your way back to the warehouse. A very similar looking map because I made these months ago. Yeah, no, that's how I feel. Like pretty much anytime I have to go to a map you guys have already seen, that's how I feel. All right. Kick. Like the app people got nudes from?
No.
Not KIK, not Kick.
What?
I never got nudes on Kick, but
Devin overplayed his hand there. That's what just happened.
I never used Kick, but I heard that was like back when iFunny was a thing. Lots of Kick references. All right, you guys make your way back to the warehouse. It is just Vera there at this point in the day. Let me think where you guys have. You guys took a rest. You got up. You went shopping a little bit. You went back to Yatana. You went back to Mantis HQ. Then you went to Moorgrave, and then you went to. So I would like to think at this point in the day it is like maybe 4 to 6 o'clock, somewhere in that range, where you guys make it back to Vera's place. You guys do come in, and you guys come through the door and find her working in the shop back over here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Oh, let me ping. God damn it. You guys do find these. I'm on the map layer. That's why I'm selecting things. I was really scared. I was selecting floor tiles, y'all. Y'all, find her back here working on some of the auto gnomes. You guys can gather from being here before. These are probably some of the ones that are not. I don't want to call A1 sentient, but pretty close. When you guys come in, she just greets you jovially, and of course, as she normally does, comes to check on A1, make sure he's not beaten and battered, anything like that. She says, you guys can probably tell at this point Vera's not here, and the fact that you're still here makes me assume that we have something to speak about. I'm glad to see A1's in good shape. Glad to see that has learned a thing or two from you all. What can I help you with?
I'm hoping to teach him a bit more. We
Hey,
have news
A1,
that
show her your pimp hand.
it's a Threat Queen custom. I don't understand it.
Oh
Lord
boy.
of mercy. That's a strong open. Like,
Anyway,
I just think he goes to make a pimp hand, but like his pinky or something is bent, so like it doesn't look quite right. Like he's not entirely sure the right way to do it. I like to think too he goes to like smack someone and catches Randy like right where his scar is, his big like piece of missing carapace, like accidentally, like thump.
that's alright. Part of the game.
Deimos will nod to Echo. You're better with concise information. Why don't you give her the TLDR?
Just on the focus.
On what we found out about it, and wasn't this all in ties? And was it all of this because of the investigation at her warehouse? I feel like we could probably fill her in. Like, so here's the tea of what we found so far, and like,
Do we know if Oswald was the original break-in, or we do believe that Serge posing as Oswald was the one who broke in? Did we really discuss the theory?
You guys haven't been able to determine for sure. The last thing y'all discussed was that y'all thought that the original break-in was done by Serge pretending to be Oswald. Y'all haven't been able to verify one way or the other.
That was our last
Alright.
thought. There was also the question about it seemed like he was tied up with some ego terrorist before he joined the Silver Flame, so I guess it makes sense that Serge would be able to just inject himself into it, but I don't know.
I guess
it
I would
may have
tell her
been
that.
the creation of it. Like, it wasn't a group of eco terrorists; it was a group of mind flayer like victims,
Mhm.
and
I would
Oh,
tell her
Stephen.
there was a secret agent for some organization who broke in. We know to try to steal an auto-gnome for nefarious means. We don't know what.
Ooh, you can tell she looks, not. She's not panicking yet, but that puts her pretty close to panicking. She says that is fucking terrifying. I will tell, not Aaron. I'll tell Thiles as soon as I'm able. I will. You can see she's already. She rushes back into the foyer and begins to kind of scribble on a notepad or maybe scribble a letter.
And I would continue, and to make matters worse, plopping the focus onto the desk. The agent was controlled by one of these and an illithid, which we managed to neutralize.
And Illithid, she looks like
Illithid.
goes pale for a second. You all killed an Illithid, a mind flayer.
More than one.
Well, no. We technically.
I'm not sure if Echo's like purposefully being deceptive or
Did we not?
I don't want to
we
undercut
killed
you.
intellect
We
devourers.
technically killed intellect devourers, not mind flayers.
Illithids are the like tentacle
But
face like
we
creepy
think-
creatures. That,
Oh,
We
okay.
think they were connected to Illithid somewhere
they-
that
they're
are
They
generally
are
made
a
by illithids.
puppeteered.
They do live in the Illithid family. So you did kill Illithids. You didn't kill mind flayers. If you guys clarify that you killed intellect devourers, she like instead of like grabbing the desk to keep from falling over, she still looks pretty pale, but doesn't seem quite as freaked out. She says that's we can assume that there are a small handful of illithids in Sharn at any time. It is a big city. Mind flayers are cunning, and likely there are some that have scouts throughout Sharn, but some that are seeking the secrets of the autonomes are. Oh, I guess y'all can't see me rubbing my forearms like I'm actually anxious. Unnerving to say the least. And, you know, she's continuing to write on a piece of parchment. You guys gather she's kind of writing a report for Thiles. What you guys have told her, and after she gets done, she picks up the chip. She does the same as all the other mages have done. She casts the identify spell. And you guys can see, you know, she casts the spell. The response comes back to her that it is a psionic piece of equipment, not magical. And you guys can see her brow furrow really deep, and throws it back down on the desk and begins to pace for a second. You can see her kind of trying to put some things together. And she says aloud, she says, I don't understand. Well, I don't understand this thing. What does it do? How is it any different than the intellect devourers? You guys already have kind of gathered that they seem to take over bodies.
I expressed that the host of this was a changeling and therefore doesn't have the traditional anatomy that that intellect devourers are planted into. Like, they don't physically have a brain.
They do have it. Well, so she says they would have organs. They should have a brain. They should have some sort of cortex that powers them. And she kind of turns. She says this changeling didn't have an intellect devourer. It had this thing.
Chip, correct.
You know, she kind of paces back and forth again. You can see the gears turning in her head. She says, why would this be any different? Was he capable of anything anything different? Did he act any differently or do anything differently than the rest of them? The rest of the
He was a spellcaster? Yeah?
We know that he
did.
had psionic abilities.
Right. Did seem to maybe give him psionic abilities.
We're not sure if the source of it was this, or because obviously Drix has psionic abilities. I don't think he has a chip in his head, but we
got one
assume,
on
but
his
we're
shoulder.
not confident.
I just want to echo, though, like, you got one floating around in there somewhere?
He would, after a very brief thought, she says, as far as I'm aware, psionics are not innate to changelings. It may actually not be innate to anything except maybe the Thrycreen. She kind of paces back and forth. She says that's a little scary if Illithids have perhaps managed to find a way to gift some of their followers psionic powers through the means of these chips, through means of these devices. You can see her still trying to kind of piece together what this may have been for. You know, maybe what exactly this means, that it was, and if I'm assuming y'all have described how you got it out of him. You know, that it was deep under the skin, you know, buried in the neck or whatever. I guess they don't have anatomy, so they don't exactly know why it would be there.
Plugged into his brain.
Yeah. She says, I agree with y'all. I agree with you all that this was very likely the thing that broke into our warehouses. One moment, please. And she does. Wait here. She goes back into the shop. She's gone for several minutes. Y'all aren't entirely sure where she goes. But after a little bit of time, you're not left waiting, but maybe 5 to 10 minutes before she returns, this time with a sack. She comes back out and plops down for you guys another 4,000 gold pieces. She says, you guys have all been watching A1 for some time. You have brought me some form of vindication for this. You guys, I believe you. You've said you pulled this out of the brain of the thing and or person that has been breaking into my warehouses. I will be, she picks another piece of paper, glad to report to Thiles that this seems to have been handled for some time. We were afraid that there would be more break-in attempts, but there have not been any since the most recent one, and your report here gives me hope there will not be any more. I hope we can move back to our lab soon.
Can we rule him out?
I was, I, mm,
I was
I,
about to say I don't feel like they're gone for good, but a setback perhaps.
I think we should at least tell her, like, I mean, I think we already did, like, ma'am, you know they're after an auto gnome. Are you sure you're not missing any?
I think
If
like
they're after just any auto gnome.
big
They're after
big panic for like 5 seconds. She runs like sprints back to the other room. You guys can see her counting. Yeah, and she turns back. She says, "As far as I'm aware, there are none missing."
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's over, personally. I don't know what brain boys went with a machine that does or does not have a soul, but sounds to me like they're trying to make an unholy marriage between some sort of squishy apparatus in the head and mechanical body. I don't know what they want with it. Just keep an eye on your little robot friends. All right.
Suddenly, the ground shakes. No, I'm just kidding.
You wouldn't happen to have an inoperable auto gnome. It's called a husk that we could maybe perhaps use to infiltrate the lair. Maybe posing
How-
as we would bring one. Hey, look, we have an auto gnome, but like not even close to being operable, just so we can infiltrate the other lair.
You see the gears in her head turning a little bit. She kind of turns and she
I love
says,
that analogy. I love that metaphor for artificer. That's beautiful. Sorry.
gears in her head turn. She leads you back into the shop proper, where all the autonomes are. You guys can see some of them are sitting, most of them sitting in like a line, lines like you would see an army, 3 deep or 3 across and 4 deep, or however you want to think about it. But there are some that would be hanging. I like to think they're hanging from a hook, like you would hang an engine, or you pull an engine out of a car. They hang up in the air, because they're heavy as fuck. You know, it's hard to work on engines if they're not hanging in some way.
Oh man.
And she says, I could, remove some very few parts from some of these, and they would be supremely difficult to do anything with. That would not take me long.
Yeah, it was just an idea. I don't know how we plan on getting to this other place.
And
will
she
say-
kind of questions. So what do you mean? You could take these somewhere? You know where they wanted these to be taken?
I forgot that we had a delivery location. Technically, I think we do know where we could take them.
That was, I think, what we at least assumed, that
You
was the
did.
goal, to take
We
an
have a
auto
point of
gnome.
interest.
Yeah. But I don't know if that would actually help the situation, because we're clearly not amped up to the intellect of ours. So we're clearly going to be outsiders no matter what, but maybe a working auto gnome.
Persuade them to let us in.
There is a brief quip from Vera about how she is supremely pleased you didn't just use A1 as bait.
I thought about it, but I stress her out. She's already anxious. Like, Lord of mercy.
That's like the Vera approves plus 38. Like, y'all didn't just take A1 over there and do it yourselves.
We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, we don't want your technology to fall into the wrong hands. Even something that is such an early draft that it is not comparable to the auto gnomes. If we could just get it,
I take offense to that.
you take offense to drafts.
Early draft. A1 looks kind of meh.
Oh, I meant like before you got it. Okay.
Calm down, Alpha.
A1's not the early draft. It's
You ever
we're trying
seen
to take
Metabots and without the armor, and they're just like the little, like the frame, like Bender when he loses all his. Or no, I think they just extend to just the head. There's some robots where it's just like the frame, like.
You reckon that
Like a
chip requires a
prototype?
brain?
Is that a better word?
Prototype's a great word for it.
Pardon, what'd
Part
you
of
say,
me
Randy?
is
I was wondering, you reckon that chip needs a brain to work? What if we just powered it by this husk of an auto gnome?
I mean, I was
Couldn't
kind of
work on something that didn't have.
I was kind of Yeah, like thinking that too. Like
I mean, the
what
thing
would
is,
happen?
because you brought up the question of like, well, they're gonna know that we're not essentially controlled by intellect devourers, but if something rolls up that has an activated chip in it, they're gonna think it's the person that has the activated chip. So if we can find a way to power it with this husk of an auto gnome, and then get them to open the door, be like, "Surprise, baby, it's us," and then murder stuff. I don't know.
If we did give it consciousness, I think it's mind flayers are typically part of like an overall system. Like they are have a psionic unity to them, to where they are.
Yeah, there's a hive mind to him. Yeah.
It's I think it might over like they'd be like, oh, these are exactly where these people are that did this and that have this chip that's supposed to belong to so and so, but it's now in a
But how do they know it's not inside of so
R2D2.
and so? How do they know that it's not just him rolling back up? Like with what was supposed to happen for the delivery, right? Like
I mean,
I
I
know that.
assume they have all of his senses. Like they could probably look around. I feel like they would have like it would be them piloting him rather than him existing and them just watching. I think they would be.
It sounds
in
like
charge.
we need some intel. So I
Yeah.
think we need to possibly stake out this place. I would maybe go to Drix's bender, lifter, and
Yeah.
maybe
Ooh, yeah.
chance to see if they know anything at least about the location or any rumors of intellect
Forgot about that.
devours,
Like, intel.
anything like that.
What do you think you've been doing? We've taken this chip to
It-
6 different people.
No, I know. I'm just more intel about more so specifically the place.
No, I'm about it. Yeah.
I mean, if
Like-
anyone has obscure knowledge, is Lifter. So
And if
I don't wanna
anybody
know-
has an invested interest in keeping changelings from being used for this, it's Chance.
Right. And I don't necessarily want to take the husk of a autognome yet. Just wondering if it was possible that we could do that.
Vera
Just-
seems willing to lend you one after she has removed the, the very important parts to how it
Yes.
works.
The pre-cortex.
She
Yeah.
stripped it for copper.
Should put a governor on it.
What is this, velvet? Devin wouldn't get it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Sorry. Something below. Okay. I'm looking at this beer. This beer's looking at me. Trying to stuff I want to open it.
Bro, same.
Yours is mostly full.
open it.
God,
Open it.
I legit don't know what to do with this because like I want to just roll up and be like, all right, I'm gonna murder something, but
Let's do it then.
I've been with fast forwarding, like trying to get some more intel from our sources.
So anyway, I started blasting.
like I got all
And
these
now
weird-
Randy can say that.
I got 3
Doesn't
swords and a
sit around.
revolver, man. I'm just gonna show up and I'm gonna be like a freaking whirlwind of a bug.
So anyway, I started hauling.
I like to think that he does like the cowboy,
are
like
black.
lean way back and pull from the hip, like
Okay. You guys are looking for more information. I'm sorry I opened that beer and the first sip cleared my mind. Where are you guys taking your
Yeah.
source of information? Where are y'all going first?
Lifter, then chance.
Lifter. Okay, thank you. Lifter then Chance. Okay, thank you. You guys go back. I imagine you might have to search a handful of taverns before you do find Lifter. Doesn't take you a terrible amount of time. To when I started blasting. So I like to think this is kind of not super late into the night, 10, same Joey, 10:30 into the night, you guys find yourselves all sitting around a table with Lifter. The drinks begin to flow. I like to think, Mantis, maybe this is just me, my personal bias. By like 9 or 9:30, whenever you guys are still working, that's when the drinks start to flow. And so by 10:30 in this tavern with Lifter, you guys are all drinking heartily. It's the end of the night. It's time to get buzzed while you work. Because who doesn't do that? I don't do that. I don't do that.
I don't on the daily, but well, not with drink anymore.
Sorry, I gotta stop. You guys do manage to sit down with Lifter, and what would you like to ask him specifically? I know kind of the high level, but what are your questions specifically? You have paid him very well the last couple of times you have been to see him. So he seems eager to answer your questions pretty much immediately as you guys sit down and the drink begins to flow and the small talk is over with.
That's why I did that.
What would you like to ask him first? Anyone?
Well, I'd say we ask him about the chip. We're gonna let him know all the information we have already, and see if he can piece anything else together for us. Any more information on illithids? If there's any illithid colonies, or if there's rumors of them around, anything like that.
Or even this specific area of Lower Sharn, if they
So-
know, oh, that's the Scorpion's hideout.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of information about illithids specifically. He kind of points you guys back to people like Professor Lupin or Professor Thulis, or however it's said. That them high and mighty types them high and intellectual types would be much more likely to know more about the creatures themselves. When you ask about the area that you guys have an address for, he gets a little bit serious, and he tells you guys. He says, "Well, to be honest, we've lost he wouldn't call them friends. I've had some associates go missing after they went to look in those areas. We've actually..." He describes it almost as a blackout. He says in the last year or two, it's been very difficult to get any intel out of those areas. He gets serious in the sense that he tells you it would probably be dangerous to go look. He says that we have covered those areas in the past. His network of people he gets information from has checked these areas in the past, and recently we've not had any correspondence from scouts we've sent to that area. He says, I suspect a stronger group, like perhaps the Dask or the Boromars, have taken over that area and are very good at... You okay? Okay, dropped a cup. He says, I suspect a stronger organization has taken over that area. It's been difficult for me to get any information out of it. The biggest thing he implies to you is that it was not sudden, but he went from being able, 2 years ago, he could tell you what was going on over there. Now, it's become difficult to get any information from what's going on in that area. He does tell you it is deeper into Sharn. It is definitely lower districts. It's not quite the cogs, but it is not a savory area of Sharn. Is that the right way to say that?
Would I, as Echo, know any info about that area, or have maybe perhaps run across it in dealings, missions? Do you want me to roll history?
History's a good roll. Let me see what you roll. Wow, back eights. Echo, for it all kind of blurs together for you, Echo. There are several sections of the lower section of Sharn where illicit activities take place, and so it's kind of difficult for you to separate what may have been going on there before this. Back when Lifter could actually get some intel from there. But I would say even with an 8, you gather that's a little odd. Somebody that makes his living in information, that makes his living knowing what's going on in the seedier areas of Sharn. If someone like him can't get any information from there, there is something amiss.
Like a actual magical or some sort of barrier, or just anytime someone tries to get the info, they don't come back?
Yeah, I would think with your expertise, you would understand that, there is a little bit of an unspoken agreement in the sense that, people like Lifter, or people he would send to get information, are either get the information they want, or they're warned not to come back. The fact that he can't get anything at all is very unusual for the criminal underworld of Sharn.
And these people that you've sent, they've come back? Or have they gone missing?
He says everyone he personally has sent has gone missing. He's received similar reports from his contacts. Other people like him that do this for a living.
We could provide some intel to you in turn if for the right. I don't know if this is something that Drix with this connection wants to do pro bono or if we can monetize this, but I'm all about trying to make a little extra hustle on pursuing this thread.
All right. What if we can get you some information out?
Sorry, the cat's killing me. Is that Nova?
No, this is Stella.
Stella.
real
Y'all,
one.
y'all have
Stella.
enough cats. I can't
That
keep them
one.
straight.
I thought it was Finny for having
Nova and
second
Stella
eyesight.
are both 40s, but Nova's been my doctor all day.
Nova's been. Y'all's cats are very sweet. I love our
very-
torty
Yeah.
babies.
Fucking
Yeah, they are.
Finny's goddamn chin. Oh, kills me.
You could if you so Lifter would tell you guys y'all don't know everything I know. I wish I could do a Bender impression. Y'all don't know everything I know. I would be willing to hear what you have to say and pay what I think it's worth. Of course, that's not always great for all of you, but there's you get the impression he would be willing to pay for some information, but he doesn't want either side to be screwed. You guys tell him stuff he already knows, he's not gonna pay any money. Y'all know some stuff he didn't know, he wants to make sure y'all are compensated mostly fairly. Do you have a price in mind? He's asking Drix mostly.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, we've done business before. I don't think I've actually sold you information, but I would say it's anything you don't know would be a little bit more than I would pay information.
Perhaps the juiciness of the intel will help us determine it. We come back with something
It depends
big.
on it'll depend on what we find. Yeah.
But you all said you know something already. You can see him kind of tapping his fingers on the table, his Warforged fingers on the table. Eventually, I like to think he takes out 10 platinum. It's a bit about 100 gold. He sets a stack of 10 platinum on the table. What will this buy me?
He did just explain this chip in quite a bit to you. I'd say this would get you halfway there.
Dang,
Did you explain the chip to him? Did you show it to him?
I feel
we
like
didn't mention.
Drix did say all the information y'all had. I was a little liberal with the idea that y'all are, y'all may not have told him every single piece of information, but
No, I don't feel like I'd hold anything back from Lifter. He's kind of a trusted connection.
if you say that Demos, I like to think he would produce 10 more platinum. He'd set that down next to the first stack. He holding on to it, he would say, "I would like to hear what you have to offer before you're paid."
What, like
I
reference
think-
to the chip or like?
Well, he doesn't even know what you're talking about, really. You know what you're trying to offer him. I'm not sure as a DM what you're trying to offer him.
there's psionic entities that we're pursuing who are responsible for a number of break-ins to very sensitive and powerful organizations across the city. We are pursuing this, and we are sure to come upon some news that would help determine if they have infiltrated other organizations, perhaps even your very own network, since you've sent so many of your scouts to them. If I'm not mistaken, these creatures gain all of the knowledge their intended victims had. We could eliminate those, where hopefully that information is lost to their network, and provide you information on how to cover your ass for what they've learned. I'd say that's worth.
I'd like to throw in at that point when Deimos gets done finishing, Drix will slide the chip over and explain that we've talked to several high-ranking people about this, and no one's been able to give us any information. And if Lifter is also not able to give us information, then it's something big. It's something very secret.
After a short moment of silence, you guys can kind of see he looks at the ship. He listens. He kind of contemplates what Demos has told him, and he says, "You all sound like you are into something big." He slides the 20 total platinum pieces, 200 gold, across the table to you guys. He says, "This is news to me. Whatever you guys are into sounds deep into it. Even I know that psionics are not the realm of most of the magical elite of Eberron. If you guys are into something
We pride ourselves in that.
like that, you know, you can tell he looks, he does, I guess, hard to tell for a Warforged. He seems like he's very appreciative of the information. He pays y'all for the information, but you can tell at this point he's a little guarded, or maybe a little more guarded than he had been throughout the meeting.
I like to
would
imagine like Bender, he's got the eye slit set like narrow a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Instead of just descend in like angry
Nah.
growls. Like,
Yeah. He says, I would be interested in any more information you all could give me. But I don't want to be involved in whatever you've got yourselves involved in. Obviously I make my coin listening to the things you all get involved in. But getting involved myself is not worth the hassle for the shiny metal ass.
it's too much like
Well,
work. I get it.
Well,
As always, your name will be omitted from the records, Lifter.
there are megapedes and asteroids that might fetch a fair price for armor if you can get their carapace. If you want to slide another 10 platinum over, just, you know.
He looks a little confused, like at this point. You can see when you say megapede, he's got that look like, are you fucking with me?
No, it's like a centipede, but like bigger.
And since you're not lying, he quizzes you a little bit before he realizes you're not kidding. That this seems to be another creature that crazy ass adventurers go kill for money. You get another 5 platinum pieces. You gather, he seems to think that he could pawn that off to other groups of adventurers.
50 gold for carapace plates?
Well, more
Oh.
the idea that he can go
Info
tell.
of them.
He can go tell another group of adventurers, probably a very new group of adventurers, that you
That
can go
has
kill
good
these
on
things.
their
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
You can go kill these things for money.
Lifter, you shady son of a gun.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Get my own asteroid with blackjacks and hookers.
I was
They're
literally about
CR20
to
though.
say with blackjacks and hookers.
Y'all with that fucking asteroid hideout. my own asteroid.
Instant
Blackjacks.
fortress would totally have blackjacks and hookers. I can
Yeah.
I can pretty
All
much say
right.
guaranteed.
When I one
So
day
it would-
finally have to write the asteroid fortress, there's going to be a whole red light district of the fortress.
And there's
Of
gonna
course.
be a wrestling arena right in the center of it. Right in the tunnels.
No, that's its like main draw. Like it makes its money from it's Neyland Stadium, but wrestling.
Are we going to
So
call the
really, it's gonna be
stadium
Vince
the
Mc-
megapede?
Vince McMahon. It'll be awesome.
Mega
Megapede. We get like a young
I'm
megapede.
Demos
like,
Dimmadome, owner of the
Demos
Demos Dimmadome.
The Demodroid?
There you go, the
Demos
Demodroid. Yes.
I've been
Oh,
sitting on that joke for like 4 weeks now. I'm sorry.
That's pretty
That was-
fucking funny.
I
God
fucking
damn,
love Fairly Odd Parents.
it's solid.
Oh man, I should have asked y'all 30 minutes ago if anyone needs to stop. I apologize.
I think it's apparent that we don't.
Oh shit.
I think it is apparent. So I'm trying to remember where we were. You guys are talking to Lifter. You guys have sold some information to Lifter. It sounds like y'all wanted to go, or y'all want to go after that to Chance. You
If
guys
we can-
return. Go ahead.
Get more info from them. If not, then
Go to the site. Stab people through the eye hole.
stake out.
Okay, and you're looking. What specifically would you be trying to find out from?
I wouldn't really ask him anything different other than now if he knows anything about like the Dask or the Bohr Mars. What's the likelihood
that particular area.
Yeah. But
So what
still the same thing. What do you know of the area?
I'm gonna say
Possible.
you guys pop by there briefly. You know, y'all haven't been back in a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer than that. You know, you might have to reveal to him that you guys now have your own lodging or whatever. You go back to the Weeping Willow where y'all stayed for a little while. Is that it? You're not gonna tell him anything besides these questions? Okay.
We show him the chip as well.
I mean,
You're muted, by the way.
You're on mute, my man.
he is on mute. Didn't realize that.
We ran across Surge. We killed him.
And his Raichu. Fuck you.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him that there is an illithid presence, though,
But y'all found some.
which is why
He
I was
had-
asking about them.
Maybe I wouldn't plop it on the table, but discreetly. This was
Okay.
Regurgitate the fucking
But
intellect
you
devour and show it to him.
Nice.
To kind of
Wow.
condense.
What are these things?
To kind of
Somewhere
condense.
that lady in the church vomits again for no reason. She can't
What would
quite comprehend.
happen is you would get a very similar story that he had eyes in the area up until a year or two ago, before it was taken over by what he assumed to be probably one of the more powerful criminal entities in Charm. So you hear a lot of the same things from him. He is very interested to hear that you have taken care of Surge, but doesn't make any comment on that.
I'm
And
gonna tell him that, like, possibly it's the illithids themselves that are blocking the information that's coming out.
Risk controlling.
it
these
seems
ships.
people are going missing when they try to find info in the
yeah,
area.
you get that area. And
That sounds
he
bionic a little bit.
he corroborates. You know, he says, you know, we did not send many after the first went missing. Says, you know, you got to get the idea that, you know, after they lost one or maybe two people sending people to that area, they stopped. You know, Thorani, being experienced in this kind of thing, wasn't about to just keep throwing people at an area that had obviously been kind of upturned and recently taken over. So that is the biggest thing you'd probably get from Chance, is that they believe there has been a very recent being the last year or two, upheaval of that area. Whoever controlled or watched that area has changed drastically. Because before they could get some information from there, and now it has been very difficult. I would say also Chance particularly would be able to tell you guys that that's unusual. For the most part, if you're involved in the espionage game, you understand that the flow of information needs to mostly stay unimpeded. That is how, you know, espionage is very nuanced. That's how you trick people. You don't stop the flow of information, you change it a little bit. You hope they don't notice the things that are lies and things that are not. The idea that no information is flowing from somewhere does not quite align with the game of espionage. It's a little weird in that regard. But that's probably all you can get from him. There's not anything,
How much would you pay us to bring back some information for you? I'm trying to get triple paid for the same mission.
Yeah,
I can
the
think from-
rumor is they have something dangerous down there.
They?
We assume a they. This isn't just one person. In the lower Sharn area, this area we're talking about. And if I could actually recall the specific words in the cipher that gave us that idea, I would quote it.
You quote it? Okay. Man, he's an information broker as well, isn't he?
Or really, if he had heard any rumors of anybody who has something to that level of dangerousness. Maybe we didn't put two and two together until now.
I like to. So I think that, you know, if you guys tell him what you know, you recite some of the cipher to him, and you can see again another example of someone trying to put some pieces together. They don't have all of the puzzle. They don't have all the pieces for the puzzle. And he tells you, he says, I can pass this along to to higher ups. You can tell he goes to offer you like free room and board, and realizes it's not gonna work anymore. You guys get another. Sorry, my brain's broke. 5 platinum pieces. And, kind of under the assumption, he says, he says, come back with, come back at all. We'll talk about a little more reparations for the things you learn.
Triple pay.
You're gonna nickel
says,
and dime
"But
our ways to prosperity.
This whole campaign information has been worth as much as almost anything else. That's kind of how spy stuff works. So,
Speaking of which, do we want to involve
Bro,
another employer of ours?
I was wondering about it. Like,
I literally like 10 like
We know another information broker. Yeah.
3 minutes ago, I was like, they're gonna go try to sell us to Sly next.
As
We
soon as you
should-
said
I
it,
feel-
you were like, get paid 3 times for the same mission. I was like, well, what about 4?
Bro, but wait, there's more.
Now keep in mind, well,
Reminding
almost say
me.
that. All right, well,
he does fund our ship. He is like our primary patron.
Right.
So
Yeah, he kind of.
I don't know if we should sell or just provide.
Yeah.
But I feel like
he does. He actually brokers an information too. Like he's somebody
Yeah.
we should probably just question about this type of thing in general. Like he might know something we don't.
Like, hey, we're about to go into the belly of the beast here.
like an
Another
arm
reference.
was missing for a second. That was crazy looking.
so. We go
Um,
to the, we
Could
go
you
to the
warn
Diamond
us?
Theater. Damos picks up Sybil. We make it a date night. We would just go see whatever show's there. What's playing, Devin?
It is a spoof of a very famous actors. All their plays conglomerated together.
Really? That sounds ridiculous.
Absolutely, it is ridiculous. Lots of references that y'all wouldn't get.
That's
So,
derogatory, and
do
I
you-
appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's called McBleh.
Nick Bleh.
It was very.
By
couldn't
Robert
even know.
Ike?
I saw this one earlier
he
today
took-
at the church. I'm pretty sure I heard her say it. McBleh.
You told us about it.
Okay. Well, sorry.
All the
Well,
all of
before we
Shakespeare's.
leave, I'm gonna.
It is all this, but there
Why-
was lots of vomiting jokes that I did.
Lots.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the McBleh was very perfect. Like
It
was
was
like,
very-
oh God, how
It
did
was
he
very
know?
good. How did he know? Okay. Do you really take Sybil? I have to ask.
If we're actually going to see a show, for sure. Yeah. Like,
Well, for the most part, y'all's meetings.
she
with
watches
Sly,
A1 in the car while we talk business with Sly.
For the most part, y'all's
You're a
meetings
terrible
with Sly
boyfriend.
are
She-
kind of
she-
under the.
She babysits our robot little brother while we're going to do business inside. Know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's she likes A1. She's been, I think I've never asked. Wow, maybe I am a terrible boyfriend.
I'm just like, maybe we'll handle the business. You go do an actual date,
I-
okay?
Oh, when I invite Sybil, I mention, as you may recall, I need to get back. As you may recall, last time we attended the Diamond Theater, I had business to attend with its proprietor. That will much be the case afterward. Briefly, just a quick conversation. That still seems agreeable. If not, we can move our tickets to a different night.
Trying to remember, 'cause she did get a chance to speak with A1. She did kind of watch him for you guys for a brief amount of time. Trying to remember how much she was able to discern about him. She does agree to go. She wants to go to do things with Demos.
It's Echo's son. You have to understand. It's not really our. It's more for. Well, it's not like
so I like to
not
think
like
that
make
One of
look like a
Echo's
fried
mini
green.
bastards.
I like to think that Sly. I wouldn't say he seems upset or doesn't seem supremely annoyed. You gather he's used to doing these kind of things during the play while it's going on, up in the box that you guys can rent using your passes. But
Mission box, yeah.
after the play, a very funny and satirical play. Unlike I think the most recent thing y'all watched was very moving. It was like
It's
it was about the
10
last
Wars?
war. Yeah, it was about the last war. This one was much funnier, more satirical, much lighter hearted. And afterwards, Demos, you do send Sybil back out of the theater, maybe to meet A1 or maybe with A1. I don't know if he would have sat with you guys to watch.
Probably. We try to keep a side out.
I
They're
know
within,
y'all.
just as last time, they're within 120 feet of the building. So they can be on the outside of the building, like on, I assume it has like benches and stuff. Like,
And Demas, you go back up to the box where the rest of you would have been watching from. I like to think Sly might have moved in and out during this time. Once he realized y'all were actually going to watch the play and not going to talk to him during it like he's used to, he does show back up. You guys watch him and Cade return to the box. He seems to always have Cade with him, or at least for 1 versus 6 is never fun. 2 versus 6, at least someone might get away. And Cade, as
Cade's
usual,
thrilled about
All I
that.
heard was
I
he
was about to-
sacrificing Cade to run away.
I was about to say, Cade, as
Human
usual,
shield.
looks
Gnome
a
shield?
little stiff, but you guys, especially since, the last time y'all talked to Cade, I think was in Mantis HQ, y'all actually got a chance to speak with him without Sly there. So you guys can see that he doesn't look quite as tense as he might have the last time this happened, but you all pile up in one of the boxes together. I think the Diamond Theater is still archived. Let's see if I can do this while I'm drunk and talk. You guys all get back together inside of the box. Sly says, it has been a little bit of time since I seen all yins. I would appreciate a general sit rep before we get started.
Did you say cigarette?
I just
That
heard of a
too.
place we can get Cupid.
Sit rep.
Sit rep,
Situational report.
if you wouldn't mind.
I start sewing to my swords. I'm like, oh my god, you gotta look at all this crazy stuff I did. First I killed a giant bone snake, and I got a hilt man.
He knows that. You still have our skull, and I want it back, by the way. That was on loan.
Oh yeah, it's been so long.
No,
I forgot all about
it
that.
has been enough time. He says, absolutely, we will have it delivered back to your headquarters.
That's gonna
It's not
be a
supposed
fucking. What do they call like the mermaids on the prow, like the fucking mast piece or whatever? Not mast.
In a minute.
Ah, dude.
Shit.
I knew
bigger-
until you asked.
The
I know, right?
figurehead, yeah, on the end of the ship. The ram on the end of the ship.
Ah, dude.
Fucking
Gonna-
Una.
We're gonna get our
know
damselfly
that.
and just give it these big ass fucking naga teeth. Just.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Did you say
Figure
meh?
Ooh, a Naga Spelljammer. Yeah.
Got it.
Ooh, a big good aircraft
Alright.
carrier. Real
That was
long. Ooh, stop. Wish I could make maps. Alright, well, okay. He does agree to return that immediately. He tells you that he will have agents
fucking
bring it to Mantis as they are done with it. I think I meant to give y'all back to y'all weeks ago in game and forgot.
We never talked to Sly. What do you want from us? I don't know what to tell you.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Y'all may have
Kinda
an
goes
opportunity
kinda
to
on
be
us.
employed by another organization soon. We'll see.
All right. Well, you knew about that one.
Wait.
But what about this one? Put the new sword down on the
Do
table.
we need to start instigating a division?
Are you saying we're all getting cerebral cortex?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I realized y'all could have an opportunity to speak with an organization powerful and rich enough to buy out your contract, for lack of a better term. We'll see if y'all even get to speak with them or not. You plant that sword in the ground. Sly, of course, being an experienced adventurer, can see immediately it's a magical weapon, not dirty at all. That's kind of how the way they work is that they stay very clean. They look very sharp at all times, etc., etc. And you stab it in the ground, and he gives it an appraising, or in the table, and he gives it an appraising look. I like to think Sly almost always brings a bottle or two of liquor to these meetings, because I'm an alcoholic, so is Sly. And
Hey,
you
here,
guys,
buddy.
bless. You guys,
Does Sly
sorry.
get as insecure when he gets drunk?
No, I like to think Sly's never insecure. It's like his biggest.
If anything, he gets more confident, I'd like to imagine.
Yeah, I was about to say. Also, I'd like to repeat that I don't have to be drunk to be insecure.
Oh.
So he
Yeah.
does.
Here
He
again.
does give it a very good look, but he doesn't seem to understand immediately that it's a legendary status. He thinks you've just obtained another magical item, as adventurers do. But if you tell him the story and all that stuff, he says, well, that is mighty impressive. Y'all have done well for yourselves as Mantis, it seems like. I'm pleased that you not only are able to do as we have asked, but to make your own reputation. It is well deserved.
Damn fucking right it is.
Tip my hat. I'm like, so thanks to my buddy Kate
Cheers.
over here. I think that fella deserves a raise or something. I'm just saying. I sit back in my
Do you have benefits? Do you have dental?
Vision.
The fuck is dental?
Well,
Actually, I feel like Kate
You don't
fully
find
would be
out
like
if you don't give us the info.
Acupuncture, chiropractic.
I reckon you could use it for your teeth and for your horns, but I don't really know the rules or stipulations around what dental actually covers.
Good question.
I have spikes
Just
and
dental
stuff. I feel like I might know. No, it's actually a third plan you need
Horns
to
would be
have.
like
It's actually
dermatology,
kind
maybe.
of racist that we have to pay extra for horn
For
care. I'm
horns,
just-
yeah. It's almost like it's nails, there's not anything for nails particularly. So they're like nails or horns, keratin is horns.
Manicurist.
Yeah.
I was about to say that'd be like a chitoractor, probably.
I like to think Sly at this point is going off on tangents, and like talking about where he gets his horns done at.
Oh,
That
you
goes
know,
off a little bit
that's
on
funny. I went there for a number of years, but then they really fucked up. I was lopsided for a little while, and it fucked off my equilibrium. And I've got the
I
little
was about to
tiny
say
ear
something about-
holes.
I was about to say something about my horns, and I forgot that I wasn't Arcanox. So
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude.
Hey, now,
soon.
Oh, so you guys, let's do it this way.
speaking
What
of
would you
horns,
guys? Hold on, 2 seconds. When you guys give him your sit rep, what would you not like to tell him?
Oh God.
I think this is going to be shorter
I
than.
don't know
what
if I
you
want to tell
tell
him about the orrery.
That was
Yeah,
a
that's
little
the-
while back. You guys, we'll get to that in a second.
trying to
I
think.
don't know.
for new info,
I kinda
Does
trust
he
Wyatt
know
at
we
this point.
have? Does he know we have an auto gnome?
Oh, that is
Y'all
good.
have done very good at hiding that. You haven't brought him in the theater. At least it
Well,
seems.
we're
Y'all-
supposed to
y'all
hide
done-
him. So.
Y'all done pretty good at, you've made him look like a regular gnome. There's been a couple of times that I think you guys have went to talk to him and not said anything, so he might be aware that he might think there's another party or another person in your troop.
Well, that's my girlfriend and her son. We like to take him out and involve him in the arts. You can understand.
Stepdaddy Deimos.
oh,
So
Daddy,
I would
that's-
say,
I'm
since
sorry, I just have to. I apologize, but you're a dragonborn and she is an elf, and
I said a stepchild. The husband, her
I don't
original
think she's
partner.
step.
From her previous marriage.
Yeah, of course.
He did say it was her.
What you think
kid.
elves can't love a gnome? What's wrong with you?
He
This
did
is
say her kid. That's a good point.
yeah.
Okay.
This is
Yeah, that is that gnome must have been mighty unsatisfying.
That's
Well,
special.
but-
So I
But
would
you
say,
got
yeah,
dragging,
anything
everybody else lagging. All right, like
He went out for a
Nothing
pack of pipe weed
involving-
and never came back.
nothing involving Vera or gnomes. As far as like, I'm saying, you said
Oh,
what do we
we're
not
holding,
mention?
yeah.
Mhm.
He's trying
nothing
to get us back
involving
on track.
Vera, gnomes.
Like,
Okay,
and
okay.
if we do, it's just hey that we might have been hired to. I don't even know if I want to mention that. Investigate the warehouse break-in,
But I
because
wanna
that's kind of what
know-
led us.
I want to know if he
So it
knows
sounds like
anything
y'all want
about
to-
autognomes. Like I want to know if he, like, I almost want to probe it a little bit. Like I want to know how much he knows about that situation because
What
I
if
know
we
it's supposed
use
to be a secret, but
what if we use the papers as why we're doing it? Hey, we found this organization that
But see,
they
we
had
inferred
papers about
auto
trying to
gnome.
steal auto. Well, the papers say they're trying to steal auto gnomes. We don't say that
I
we
think-
have one.
I
bring
think
it up.
we inferred that they're trying to steal an auto gnome because of the break-in. I don't know if it actually said it. Did it?
it does.
DM?
say in the
You
documents,
guys, yeah, y'all gathered from the documents that was their prime.
But-
The biggest thing y'all gathered from these documents is that they seem to have mind controlled this group of amateur adventurers who attempt to steal an auto gnome and return it to this location.
Okay.
this location that you guys have already unciphered.
I didn't know if it specifically said that, or we just kind of figured that because of the break-in.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Okay.
You
So
guys
I-
had to do all the above to get to that thought.
I agree.
say
Then
we
I
leave
agree.
like that.
I agree with Randy, and let's probe it.
We share what we have
Yeah.
based on the documents, not based on our personal experience with these creatures.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking 3 fingers, but sure.
I think that's
There's
all Thrive
three.
Green have.
1, 2, 3, 3.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Two in the
didn't see the
pink, one in the
pinky.
stink.
Evan, what are you?
Oh my
I
god.
don't think you know what that is.
Whoa.
Right?
You shoved the katana right there in the gap.
That's
I would like to think
just-
Devin's over here like Assassin's Creed. You have to
Just-
take out a finger, right? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's the shocker they call it.
Yeah, oh, okay, no, he did get the reference.
Jesus.
Okay,
You know exactly
I
what that is.
apologize.
Sorry, I
2
can't
in
get
the
over the.
Q,
They
1 in the
they
P.
do that same thing that Tennessee does. Vol VOL, and it kills me every time I
Wait,
see these people on
That's
TV.
an
No,
official,
they
that's
do
an official
not.
They
Tennessee
do.
fan sign?
I see these
Shut
people
the
on TV all the
fuck
time
up.
going like this, and I'm like,
They're doing it on purpose, Devin. I promise you. They know
Yeah,
what they're doing.
it's-
With all due respect, man, Tennessee fans never fucking end to surprise me, man.
Yeah, no.
yeah,
time out.
we're all psychotic.
We're gonna take a
Time
step back
out.
here. That's special, man. Tennessee fans are special. I don't know what to tell you that. Like, I've seen some weird
Just start
traditions
incorporating.
in college football, but like doing that.
That's
and
coming from a Georgia
they-
fan, man.
They
Yeah,
know
they
what
do.
they're doing.
Like this, yeah. That's the Vol sign, and like I thought this was like Blood or Crips or something. Like I know they have a very similar, a very
Devin's so
similar
white, he
ham
thought the
sign.
ball-
Yeah, like there's a very similar hand sign from one of the gangs, and so I'm over here like I can't believe they do that on live television. Like it's crazy.
Blood.
But
Crip
I
killer.
also laugh every time they do it. Because they just all these boomers that don't know what they're doing, all these college girls that don't know what they're doing, or maybe they do. I don't know.
Oh, they know. Yeah.
Um,
They fucking.
Anyone does. I mean,
it's weird, man. But
Chattanooga
anyway.
and Memphis are in Tennessee. They know.
You're not wrong.
Memphis.
Shout out to Memphis.
Where do you think they got the term Tennessee mudslide?
Oh
Yeah,
my
I was
god.
gonna. Dude, there was a whiskey at the liquor store today called Mudslab. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
some
like
kind of
a white Russian with chocolate, usually.
White Russians.
does she
gross.
have to be Russian or?
Oh god. Anyway, before we get too much further off the rails, it sound okay. Y'all want to so y'all present
Y'all
these.
said it again.
Yeah, I know. Can't stop. Can't
Y'all wanna
stop. Won't
probe?
stop. Y'all do want to probe. So Mantis
Yeah.
does it. They probe.
Biologically compelled. to,
You-
Let's tell you.
Listen, I'm an off-worlder, baby. I gotta figure out what's going on biologically.
We broke Devin.
All right. Y'all present him the documents. Did I hear that correctly, or y'all just
Yes.
gonna tell him what you've learned?
I feel like we,
Hell,
we're invested enough in Sly to say this is why we know this. Tell him our source of information. We found these documents in this Intellect Devour hideout. Are we going to ask him about the chip? I assume we've asked everybody else in Charn. Fuck.
I wanted to, and I also think now that the question's been posed, do we just lay the documents out and say this is what we deciphered from this?
See if he can tell us
What do you-
anything
like,
else
what
from
do
it.
you see? Because I feel like that question was a little
I'm good with that.
leady.
There's fucking illithids and sharns, Sly. Goddamn.
Like, help us, buddy. Yeah, I think we tell him what we found. I think we tell him what we deciphered, but also show him the documents. Like, what do you
Agree.
see here? And then also, I'm fine to tell him about the chip too, because as long as we don't lead with like us having prior knowledge of there being autonomes.
Yeah,
or
I think we present it as
anything.
one of them
Yeah.
also had this. We have reason to believe from the people we've had look at it that it's could be connected to psionics and potentially mind flayers. The Intellect Devourers obviously are.
I wouldn't mention people we've had look at it. I would just because you can identify and determine that it's psionic, right,
That's true.
on your own.
Between
Yeah,
the
So I
two
would
of
say
us,
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I would agree with the
I did
first
that
part
first.
though. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
I'll say our
we found
research
this.
indicates and say
Yeah, there you go.
If we get any questions, we were
Hey.
just working a side gig. Somebody paid us to work a side gig. We stumbled across this random
Oh.
nonsense, and we're kind of weird about it. Like,
there was a man who disappeared. We were looking into it. We were
I can
paid
talk
well.
about how I examined it psionically.
Oh, that's very
And I was
right.
like,
You did
and I
get
was
a
like, hey, there's
ticket.
something sketchy
Yeah.
about this.
So I was holding my
Vibes are
breath.
off.
I was holding my breath to stay awake.
What the fuck?
What?
Wouldn't that make you pass out?
Well,
we
so-
have the exact opposite.
Hold on.
effect.
Nope. Hold on. If
I
you
was
hold
drinking
your
whiskey so I
breath,
could sober up.
if you hold your breath, your heart rate increases, which helps you wake up because your blood is pumping faster. Obviously, you hold your breath long enough, you'll pass out and start breathing again. You can't suffocate yourself to death.
Joey was
Um,
trying.
Yeah, you really can't. You really can't. Yeah.
But I've done the same thing in church before, falling asleep. Hold your breath long enough,
I
your
thought you
heart rate
meant pass out.
increases. No, hold your breath long enough, your heart rate increases.
You've
Helps you
never
stay
fell
awake.
Good
asleep
hack, yeah.
in church,
For a
Devin?
moment.
I don't believe it.
As a
So
kid,
say if
they
you
didn't.
passed out, did they
When you're
take
young
that,
enough, your parents don't give a shit. You can lay there and sleep in the pew as long as you're being quiet.
Oh, you can lay the fuck down. Yeah.
Once you get old enough, your parents are like, you can't sleep in church, man.
You can't do nothing.
you sound a little disgruntled
You
about
gotta
that.
lay.
It's like when they tell you,
It's like-
no, you can't go to the playground anymore. You're in 6th grade now, and you're like, what? I'm older and I get things taken away. That sucks ass. Like,
It's like just last
That
week.
doesn't
they
make
told me
sense.
I couldn't
13,
take a
you
nap
can't
in
get the Happy
pews.
Meal.
Okay, hold on.
You don't
Stop,
get the
don't say-
Nappy Meal.
Don't say Happy Meal to me. It's late. I'm drunk. I want chicken nuggets. You
why,
better
yeah,
stop.
now that you
man.
said chicken nuggets, like,
Not
The nearest
McDonald's,
McDonald's is like 15 miles away, though.
I
Don't
kill
rhyme.
all of you
Devin,
for a
it's like
Big Mac
20.
right now.
It's a good
Yeah,
while.
it's bad.
The
if
McDonald's
we
is
had
probably
a
already
Taco
closed
Bell
right
in
now.
Ducktown, I would be so fat.
dude, bro,
Um,
right there.
Anyway,
So
set up.
close.
No, stop. No, shut your
Sounds
mouth.
like you need to
Shut your
move to
whore mouth.
Alabama.
It's 1
Okay,
o'clock
hold
anyway.
on.
You're
Hold
beyond
on
Taco
a
Bells.
second. Hold on a second. All right, I understand you guys want to present the documents to Sly.
Correct.
Before that, you wanted to ask him about. You wanted to try to figure out what he knows about the Autonome situation. How?
But that
What do you ask? How do you go about trying to probe about that? Whether that's delicately or subtly or not.
Vice versa, the order. Here's the thing that we found. Here's the notes that we found that talk about wanting to steal autonomes. What do you know about autonomes?
Okay, y'all gonna start with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, investigating the autonomes was the first job he gave us, anyway.
Is
That's true. It's
Yes,
one of the
but he
very
doesn't
first
know we
things he
have
told you
one.
guys. Now, y'all, he has hinted at you guys that he knew a little more than he let on about these situations. He called it insurance later. That you guys, he kind of alluded that he made you guys go get this information he could use against you later. But if you reverse things, you show him the paperwork.
That's right.
You explain to him the things you guys have gleaned from the paperwork. He does look over it for a few minutes. You guys kind of gather that he doesn't have the time right now. It took y'all an evening and another morning to get the information you got out of this cipher. So you gather, he doesn't have the time to really attempt to try to read these notes for himself and uncipher it himself.
Well, no, we give him the transcribed copy. I imagine to translate it, we had to write it out. I don't think we got proficient with it enough to where we could read it as a language. So,
And especially when you guys tell him about the intellect devourers. He gets, like many people you've talked to, he gets kind of serious. And he says, this is not good. Particularly for somebody like me, whose job it is to make sure that the status quo is maintained. Here in Sean, this is a good sign that may not be the case for very long. And he asks you, can I keep these documents to have my people look over?
I say yes, more merrier.
So I will say
Good.
earlier, I alluded but did not explicitly say, you guys have expunged all the information you can from these. It won't hurt you guys to give them to him and let him do the same thing.
Yeah, I
I
was
figure
gonna
we have a
say,
transcript somewhere.
as long as if there is any additional info, as long as he shares it with us, I think that would be a fair trade.
Okay.
only because you gave us back the Naga skull, am I trusting you with this?
No,
Yeah.
he says, well, of course. This is okay, here we go. Sorry, my brain's running like 30 seconds slow. He says,
Did you try holding your breath?
anyway,
Let it out.
that's what I was laughing about. He says, now funny word you use there, Demos. Trust.
Fuck.
You guys have trusted me with this skull. I have given back what is likely a lucrative artifact back to you, and I will be happy to return these documents to you. I would hope we have reached a point where you all could tell me truthfully what transpired on the planet of Therendor. That being said, so to reference, he is very aware you guys are hiding something from him. He doesn't know it's the orrery, or well, y'all think he doesn't know it's the orrery, but he's very aware that y'all are hiding something from him pertaining to that mission. Y'all went there and maybe
Oh yeah, we
or
did hide
maybe
that
not.
from him. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not broke the barrier. I think y'all were pretty shifty about that. But he knows y'all are hiding something from him. Y'all's checks didn't go well. He kind of let it lie at that time.
I think
But-
we were truthful that we broke the barrier when we killed the Naga, but we didn't say what we found inside. We said
Yeah,
that we left right away.
left right
We didn't
away.
talk about the orrery itself.
But he in the rolls were not good. He is aware that y'all have been lying to him about whatever transpired after that.
I feel like we've been pretty honest, haven't we, Zephyr?
Is that the planet that we went to that had that weird building and then we ran away because there was people coming?
That's the one.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
there were those
you're
people who
correct.
were converging on the location. We were just paid to take down the barrier, so we did such.
Right.
See, but it is so funny there, Mantis, that we've found very little in regards to what was behind that barrier. Definitely nothing worth locking up for thousands of years. Now, y'all have come to me with this information that as per our agreement, this is why we are contracted. He, where would he? I guess he's got it on him. A couple of bags. So, think about this. Couple of bags of platinum. He kind of not produces, but he seems to be carrying coin. You gather when you guys showed up and gathered him, he had some on him to pay you guys for whatever was about to happen. And I would like to gather y'all get probably about 2,000 gold more. It's at 200 platinum. It is broken up in several bags of platinum that he puts on the table. Maybe not even slides to you guys, but kind of maybe one at a time. Plop. 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 These bags, smaller bags of platinum coins onto the table. He says, this is for the documents you have provided, as is our arrangement, regardless of the information you all are attempting to keep from me. This is our relationship, is it not? You bring me things I did not know. I provide coin in return. He says, to your question, y'all have told him what you believe is going on with the documents. Because y'all are trying to figure out how would he respond about money, please. Same. It's all about the money. He's has been y'all. I've been very pleased with y'all's fucking greedy ass this session. I love it. I was really sad y'all got up to like 50,000 gold pieces and then spent like 45,000 of it. Part of me was like, oh. We're getting there. We're
Hey,
working
man.
our way. We're working our way back.
Money's like the wind, dude.
That's
You only feel it when it's moving.
You're working your way back.
Deimos puts the whore in hoarders.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tells you guys, he says, I am not surprised to hear there are many organizations or factions that would like to have this information. Obviously, I sent you all to investigate because I was already aware that something oh fuck, the word left me. God damn it. Unprecedented was going on in those warehouses. And you guys were able to confirm my suspicions. The fact that they have shipped out a couple of cohorts of autognomes is impressive. Thiles has been hard at work to do what he does. Trying to figure out exactly how he would respond to what you've told him. If there is another any organization looking for these secrets, could be dangerous. He kind of flippantly waves his hand. Even ours, gesturing to all of you, may not perhaps use this information in a way that benefits the entire continent. But if you all find yourselves in a position to prevent this information from falling into any hands, except our own, of course, you would be... What's the opposite of remiss? You would be,
Not miss.
Behooved.
thank you.
Behooved.
Behooved to do so.
Behooved.
Good word for sly, too. Behooved to do so.
Because he's a tiefling. He's got hooves. I think. I don't
Eh,
know how tieflings work, but they should.
It's satyrs, sorry.
What exactly?
I
are you
totally
gonna-
believe some tieflings are a little more demonic and have the hoof legs. That's just personal. Get it?
He make an insight check.
Asmodeus.
Two people or one with advantage that would like to.
I have a +2.
Same.
Got a +3.
Yeah, me too.
I think Zephyr has 4. Is that correct?
Zephyr has
Wait.
+4.
Which set?
Insight.
Insight, yeah,
attention,
mine's
Zephyr.
+4.
Yeah. Get it.
Yeah, Drake,
Advantage.
With
Deimos,
advantage?
and Echo both have 2.
Zephyr's foot is acting up. He's getting some phantom
Let's
pains.
just give
You know.
Zephyr the
Restless leg.
because +3
Foot
is
tension.
not going to be.
Sounds like they're going to give you advantage, Zephyr. Growth wise.
Okay, gotcha.
Damn, 8.
I'm about to go pour some more coffee. I don't want
Hey,
to.
hey,
21.
21!
Nice.
21. Zephyr, he's being very careful in how he responds. You gather this probably is a situation where he knows a good bit more than he wants to reveal. So that's the biggest thing you take away is that how careful he's being in his responses tells you that he's doing his best not to give away any more information than he expects y'all to know.
Should I call him out on this? Because he's been kind of hard on us for with quote unquote
Well,
supposedly
Before you do that,
withholding information. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that, but if he's going to call us out
I
on
don't
it, I feel
know.
like we should call him out on it.
my curiosity
I don't know,
is, what does the orrery, what is withholding information on the orrery get us besides a bargaining
Yeah,
chip?
because I'm tempted to tell him about it to trade more
You don't
information. Yeah.
quite know what it is. I'm
Well,
a
we-
little
so-
hesitant on
we
how
don't.
he's going to do it.
But here's the thing. So we sort of trust him enough to show him all the documents and show him a chip, but we don't trust him
Yeah.
enough to show him an orrery that we found inside.
So the reason I'm more concerned
I
about
don't
the
trust him
orrery,
at
the
all, so
orrery is
here's-
very
here's
likely
that.
going to lead us to more of these enormous dragon shards that are like it's like fighting an asteroid made out of a highly conductive and valuable, like made of lithium, and it's like just like what this is worth and what it could be used for and how it is coveted makes it a very dangerous thing innately. And this is like a map to them. Well, that's not necessarily true, but that's what Deimos is kind of
What we
leaning
assume.
toward. Yeah.
Um,
And maybe Calden did tell us that he believed that it was tied to that and the source of them, but I
I
could
know
be
he
mistaken.
told us that it pointed to something, but he couldn't identify what, I think is what
You-
it was.
You guys are aware that it was made specifically to find a specific item. You guys and Calden, you guys haven't went to look, I guess, about that specific item. But Calden, at this point, I don't think I may not have said it the last time y'all talked to him. He's been unable to find any information about this particular item.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mystery going on about like how old this thing is, why they can't find any information about this item it was made to find, et cetera, et cetera.
'Cause I think the issue is that it wasn't like a clear charting, like it wasn't like it was directions to something that was known. It was more like it's meant to lead you to a specific item, but what and where is sort of still nebulous.
Perhaps you guys also he has told you guys that it absorbs a lot of energy. It seems to need a very high level. It needs to be powered in some way to really be useful.
I say we tell him.
So I think we got two options on the table.
But what are we
either-
trying to get in
we got
return?
we got two options on the table, right? So we either tell him about the orrery and then say tit for tat, or we just call him out and say, you talk a lot of crap about us not releasing info to
See,
you. But I feel like
I'm
you're
I don't know.
inclined to do that.
A secret for a secret.
Yeah, but if we say, yeah, okay, we got the secret, then we admit that we were deceitful. I kind of don't think we should admit that we were deceitful.
But
He's
I
also
feel
being
like he kind of knows.
Well,
Yeah,
if I
but
thought-
it's
that's
pretty-
the thing.
It's pretty clear to you guys that he's pretty certain y'all are lying to him.
He's
about
already
something.
aware, and my
He
stance
should
on
leave
this
it-
is like I'm animalistic enough where I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, I'll kill you, dude. Like, I'll just attack
should-
you. I
Yeah,
don't care.
I'll fucking eat him.
I think we should make it ambiguous enough to where it's like we have acquired information that we are. That
Yeah,
before
no,
we
we
can
could.
provide it to somebody,
that
we
we
need
would be
verify
willing
it
to
and-
share.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
We need to understand it before we're willing to pass along.
So he's even
Right,
called us out
right.
on it
That's
in
a
this
good take.
interaction. Like, he's already called us out on being like, speaking of being truthful, it's like, oh well, since you mentioned it, how about you actually give us
Yeah,
information about
you
what
first.
you know, and then maybe we
Yeah.
can have an honest conversation about what we know.
There we go. Yeah.
Who's in the area? What dangerous weapon do they have? Or dangerous something do they have?
Ooh.
Age, sex,
Drix wants to
location.
tell Sly that
Are
he's a
we
danger.
going
Yes.
to die?
Okay, is that what y'all like to do? It sounds like y'all are going to kind of put it on Sly. Tell us what you know, and we'll tell you
No.
what we know.
Before
Yeah.
we do this,
Listen.
That probe ain't so gentle anymore.
are we prepared to?
Yeah.
Are we
Probing
equipped to be
hard.
like, hey, if he comes through, like, are we actually gonna tell him something?
I'm willing.
I mean, fuck, I'm still hesitant to tell him. Like,
Same. Zephyr doesn't trust him, so Zephyr doesn't want to disclose more than he has to.
I don't know. I trust him at this point.
I trust Cade, sorta.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I like Cade. I
I
mean,
trusted Cade for a little bit, and then I was like, well,
I was about to
I
say
don't
there was
know.
a whole
I
there was a
nobody.
whole spill where y'all were told that you could just interact with Cade instead if you really wanted to, but then it was up to Cade what he chose to tell Sly. And Cade
I feel
told
like-
you guys that he would likely tell Sly a lot of things.
He did say likely.
I feel like, yeah, and I feel like I'm biased on my distrust of Sly because it stems from my betrayal from Donovan. So I'm just like, maybe I'm a little clouded here.
Not
See,
yet.
Zephyr's just distrustful of everybody, so
Not
like that's uniform across the board.
I'm largely
They
Drix
just-
is
mostly like to know
Unitarian.
what it is
Like
we're
if you
giving
give me
up
something, I'll
for-
give you something.
But I see
I'd like
how
to know
you-
what this is before we tell him.
Alright, vote on the orrery. Do we reveal it?
Oh god,
Mm,
I say
uh,
Maybe
Zephyr
not
says no.
initially, but how about willingness to...
he gives information. We reciprocate something. It doesn't have to be everything. You have to be
vaguely,
You can leverage
vague
it for
like
about
more
what
vaguely.
you say.
Alright, no on the orrery.
That's
Well,
3 to
that's
5,
three,
I
so
think.
it's
He
over.
knows,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I was gonna vote yes regardless. I was like,
Okay.
But
So
I
then
wanna
Endeavors
see-
will try to. I understand that we may not have been entirely forthcoming. However, I hope you understand that some things are of a sensitive enough nature where we need to be certain of what it is we're providing.
We want to
No,
identify the wrong hands before we put them in them.
Mm.
no, I
I like that.
understand.
I like that a lot. I like to imagine your tiny
you
hands
all-
wiggle a little bit.
You all are not Undarians. We understand when we make these sorts of contracts that you all act with quite a bit of
Anonymity.
and
Agency?
not quite
Autonomy.
agency. Thank you, autonomy. You all are free to do as you wish. Of course, when gathering groups like this, only groups such as yourselves can do these things. we must accept the independence you all gain from your combined power. I hope that it is soon. You all are willing to come with me. Come to me and express these things you have found. He gestures to the paperwork. Back to this, to what you have told me. Intellect devourers are terrifying creatures.
Fuck.
Illithids
Oh,
are
damn.
terrifying creatures. This is not what I wanted to hear going on in my domain, for lack of a better term.
Mm.
If you guys can bring me more information about them, their movements, their plans, and their installations in this context being their bases, their places they're operating out of, general kind of military intel. He says, I would be willing to pay you all for this. This is what this contract is set up for. You all get to do as you please, and I get to pay you all for learning more about things that could threaten my domain. At this time, things in Sean seem mostly at rest. It is mostly my job to maintain that.
Mm.
All right, who's gonna call him out?
Let me see, y'all are doing well in both making a name for yourselves, and I appreciate you coming to tell me of the most recent developments.
I kind of got something else I want to tell Sly.
Sounds
Bum, bum.
to them and not
Like-
me.
Cordo's gonna pop out and be like, so, on a related note, it turns out that I might be potentially some kind of apocalyptic weapon parasite linked to something called a myconid, which is just strange information. Just figured you should know that. Seems
No.
relevant.
Hate the visual of Cordo like popping out, like just some like it. I just picture
Like
it always kind of
popping
there,
out
but
of
just they was like
foreskin, so it was just
Like the growth lights
look
up a
at the
little bit,
safe
starts pulsing.
foreskin. But oh boy, same.
I took my filter and like rubbed a big hole in it earlier tonight. Okay.
Mostly because
Not
Cordo
sure how we
likes
got
Sly and he
there.
kind of wants to brag about how dangerous he is.
Yeah. So it's the first time that Cordo's spoken. Like it's the first time Sly has. There's been two separate voices coming from Cordo.
I keep forgetting that Cordo's never talked to Sly.
So there's a brief kind of bit of surprise from Sly.
Don't look it in the eye.
He says,
Well, Cordo
Oh.
doesn't have eyes, so
"Oh my,
It's like a dark spot.
this is unusual." He takes notice of Cordo, of Drix and his more, don't know what you want to call it, spiky appearance.
yeah. At this point, like each day they grow a little bit more and they cover a little bit more of them.
He says, I am
Damos
not
digitates himself.
100% surprised to hear that, but it is unnerving, friend.
Hmm.
And I like to think at this point, y'all are maybe not late into the night. It's not as late it is for me now, but it's getting close. And like I like to think, y'all are at the bottom of whatever bottle he brought for y'all to share. Maybe 2 bottles. There's quite a few of you. He says, look here. I am not here to cheat and or hurt any of you. My job is to make sure that, I don't know why he's so Cajun. He's supposed to be Texan, but fucking Demos' accents ruined me.
I like it.
Mon cher.
I like
Yeah,
your
mon
accent
cher.
towards Sly.
This is my job is to make sure that the royal eyes of Undare can continue the espionage. Apart from that, I have no major goals.
That's just
It is my
seemed like a
wish.
5-year plan.
it is my wish you all could come to me with whatever it is you discovered on Therendor. There was many organizations hoping to discover what lie behind that barrier. I understand you may all believe that to be best left out of world powers. And that is understandable. But you should also understand that I am on your side in the perspective of maintaining the status quo. I don't wish to throw this area into chaos, or any of the areas in Corvair into chaos.
I mean,
If you
Ordo
all
might do that.
Sorry, so there's got to be somebody involved in the plot, whether it's my characters or y'all's that are willing to do that. He says, please keep in mind that it behooves me to maintain peace. It behooves y'all to maintain peace, to continue to work. We have had a mostly mutual relationship. Y'all have brought me things I did not know, as you were supposed to. But if y'all are involved in things that could rock the foundations of Corvair, it would be wise to inform me. If for no other reason than I can help arm you all to maintain this peace.
When information becomes apparent, definitely keep you in mind. In, in relation to this, have y'all identified what organization it was that we saw approaching the destination?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, pretty good question. It's been a good bit of time since y'all have. Sorry. The answer would be yes. I'm trying to think of all the things they might have found out. Been several months since y'all mentioned. I'm assuming you're talking about the figures that y'all saw on Therendor, and y'all have given him descriptions of the. I don't know if I've told y'all what they're called, so I'm gonna close my mouth for a second.
Yeah, they were just big.
Yeah, they're big, weird. They're not. I keep telling y'all they're not Warforged, but they look like Warforged. Since I haven't told you what they're called yet, I'll keep my mouth shut. But he says, what would he have figured out this time? Okay. This has been an unfortunately difficult line of investigation. To be entirely honest with you all, I believe it could be related to the section of the lower districts of Sharn y'all have mentioned already in this conversation. Oh man, oh man, oh man. In the spirit, some of the things he just said, he'll tell you guys that creating things like the Warforged are supremely difficult. As far as we are aware, only House Kenneth is capable of these things. And as far as we're aware, they have not reignited any of their creation forges. If there is an organization creating Warforged-like creatures, they either A, have taken control of a creation forge. Y'all from Eberron would understand that there are these large complexes Warforged are created in, called creation forges. No one would be really certain of how they work, except
Weren't most of them in the
Pe-
Mornland? Or just
Seer was a big Cannith country. A lot of workshops were in Seer, which is where the morning happened. So you're sort of right. Not all of them, but that is House Cannith was run by someone who lived in Seer up until that happened, and that's why there's a big kind of split, schism right now in House Cannith. He says they either A have taken over a creation forge, which is not a good sign. Y'all have been told before that the shutdown of creation forges was a a piece of there's an accord that kind of keeps the last war at bay right now. All of the 7 or 8 or 12, however many it is, countries that were left after the last war, all signed the accords. The name escapes me of the fucking accords. They signed a treaty, the Thronehold Accords. Sorry. They all kind of signed this, and that's what ended the last war. You guys are all aware that that is part of the Thronehold Accords was that creation forges are shut off. They can't run anymore. But either they have obtained one of those, or they have found another way to create these things. Kenneth is bound by societal limitations. This organization does not seem to be. They seem multifaceted, deep. They seem spread about. And it's getting late, so I'm gonna kind of try to summarize some things. He kind of tells you that whatever they've been looking into is unfortunately broad. This organization is spread very wide and very deep in the sense that, like, they can't find every time they pinpoint something and go to research it, it just leads to kind of dead ends at the end of it. Y'all kind of gather that whatever they have begun to dug into is so well entrenched in espionage that they just keep running into dead ends. Every organization seems to be a front. Whatever it is they've stumbled upon, that you have put them upon, that are creating these Warforged-like creatures, is very good at what they do from the perspective of remaining hidden in the shadows.
Sounds an awful lot of like what we're providing you with here. An organization that was a front, an eco-terrorist group that was really the front of Intellect of Ours.
And he agrees with you. He says, this is why I would like to take these documents. He tells you that if they can verify that this cipher here is used by the same organization, that, maybe they can find a continuing thread. You gather that he's a little bit excited to have obtained these documents from you guys from the perspective of being able to maybe put some dots together about what exactly is going on behind the scenes. But the biggest thing I think you would take away from this conversation is that, whatever is going on or whoever is creating these is not just, I guess he would say this is bigger than the eyes. This is bigger than the Dark Lanterns. Whatever is going on here is worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide 305.
Does this organization have a name?
I think that if you asked him, he would tell you that they're not certain at this time. I think the biggest thing he could tell you if you ask about them is that they seem... Oh, man. They seem like they are experienced in an unorthodox way. They have organizations that deal mostly in money, that deal mostly in bribes. They have organizations that deal mostly in murder and death. They have organizations that deal mostly in deep undercover work. You get the vibe from Sly that they have dug into something that makes the whole organization of the Royal Eyes kind of not afraid, but hesitant. If you're a premier espionage organization on the continent and you start digging into an organization that makes you feel like amateurs, that's kind of scary.
So it's like
it's many faceted, many faces.
Almost like every house and every clan, sort of like little bits of here and there of all of them.
Sort of. And he, at this point, you guys can kind of tell he looks not frustrated, but you guys are beginning to understand that setting him on this path, and the Eyes have set him on a path that they're not entirely sure what they're going to find. For perhaps the first time in Sly's career, he's found himself digging into stuff he doesn't exactly know what it's going to lead to. And you gather this is probably a large reason you have been allowed to continue to coexist, despite your unwillingness to share some information with him. It is time to stop.